you're okay. Welcome to live, I'm about to say live stream, live chat, live stream, same thing. Live chat 123 here on Brooksy's Bass Corner, coming to you live from London town here in the UK. Hope you're safe and well. Hope your bass playing's going great. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are on the planet. Hope you're all doing good. So before we get into the depths of bassdom and the low end, for people coming into the live chat, you may not have seen the news feed. Ozzy Osbourne has departed. He's gone to the great gig in the sky. So to all the Ozzy Osbourne fans, Black Sabbath fans out there, you have my condolences and thoughts going out to you this evening. He timed that one rather well. Managed to get to do the final gig, went out on a high. Couldn't have scripted it any better. Ozzy, rock on, my man. Rock on. I was never a huge Black Sabbath fan, but things like this, bands like that, there's gravitas, you know. They were the forerunners to heavy metal and everything that came afterwards, as we all saw at the gig a couple of weeks ago. So if you're a Sabbath fan, an Ozzy fan, thinking of you. Thinking of you. Been through all this with Freddie, with Prince, Glenn Fry, these legends that have been there for decades in the music world. They're popping off one by one. So as I've said to people before, go and see them while you can. Enjoy them while you can, because they won't always be here. But we've got all the videos, all the footage, all the music still there. They haven't gone. So Godspeed, my man. He lived up the road from here. He lived in a village called Jordan's. It's a village, literally. It's like a cluster of houses about 6 miles up the road. I've never crossed paths with Sharon or Ozzy, but I did used to work with a guy called Paul Guerin, who was the guitar player for the Choir Boys and the Down and Outs with Joe Elliott and what have you. Used to be in the Sugar Plums with him. He used to work for Ozzy. I can remember when we both used to live in London, and you'd say to him, "Oh, what are you doing this week?" "Oh, I'm going off to work at Ozzy's." "What?" "Yeah, he lives out in Jordan's. And Paul never drove. A man of never drove. Well, actually, I'd say that he did eventually get his driving license and had a Jaguar of all things, which I thought was the most daft car for him. But there we go. He used to get the train everywhere, train and tube everywhere. And because Jordan's is out in like countryside, there isn't a local train station. Nearest would be Gerrard's Cross or Beaconsfield, and then you got to get a taxi. And I'd say to him, "Oh, yeah, what are you doing over there?" "Oh, I'm house sitting." "Why are you house sitting?" "Oh, well, they're in LA for a couple of months, and me and my mate Will are house sitting for them." As you do, but there we go. So, Ozzy, thank you for the music, my man. Garrett Harrison, good to see you. Pink Bassman, I can see you. I can see Richard Fitton Perkins as well. There we go. All of that. Ryan Fleming, good to see you. Hey, Brooksy, I'm gutted following Sabbath for most of my life. I went through exactly the same thing when Freddie Mercury passed away, and when Prince passed away, and when Glenn Fry passed away, and in 2015 and 2016, we had Bowie, of course, Lemmy, Chris Squire, Jack Bruce, all these musicians. They led the foundations for everything. I say everything we've got today, but then you look at the charts today and it's pretty average. But it is what it is. Thinking of you, Ryan. Stay for the duration if you wish to. I'm sure other people are going to come on and talk about Ozzy at some point. Giving Ozzy, could I not? I mean, the news broke literally about 40 minutes before we went live. So, yeah. Bill Derbyshire, there he is, old smiler. Hope you're well, Bill. Yes, rest in peace, Ozzy. Right, we'll bring the... Actually, I'll do the housekeeping before I bring you two on the screen. So, if this is your first time on a Brooksy's Bass Corner live chat, you're very welcome. Good to see you. We're here talking bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, bass accessories, great bass players, albums with great bass playing on. If you've got any questions regarding basses, maybe going for your first audition, building your first pedal board, looking to buy some new gear, maybe you've got some money in your pocket, burning a hole, maybe you're looking to get something new pedal, new amp, new bass, ask me if I can help. More than happy to do so. It's what I'm here for. If I don't know the answers, I open it up to the floor and the fine people that we have here on Brooks's Bass Corner every week. You can pose your questions, post your comments, ask your questions, and we'll try and try and help as much as we can. Hi, body, start panting like a dog. Oh, we got one of those, haven't we? Well done, Jay. You pulled that dickhead out. Always one. Sorry, you're off. Bye. Also lost fellow low-ender Malcolm Jamel Warner yesterday. Yes, very sad. Very sad. Yeah, he was on the Cosby Show, wasn't he? That's where he kind of started out as a kid actor. And yeah, but followed the low end. Top man. So there's a lot of people popping off at the moment. Right, so Brooks's Bass Corner. Got any question about basses, bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, bass accessories? We'll try and help as much as we can. If you've got any technical questions, stick them in the live chat window. So if you're on a mobile app, it's directly below. If you're on the desktop version, it's that way. Put your cursor in the comment box. Type it in, of course. Press send. It'll appear here in the live chat window. Then I can respond to it. Next to that, you're going to see the emoji icon. Feel free to give that an absolute pummeling. Next to that, you're going to see a rectangle with a dollar symbol in it. That's called Super Chat. So if you want to help the channel, help me keep this thing going for as long as possible, everything you see, the lights, microphones, leads, cameras, basses, amps, pedals, cables, everything comes out of my pocket. I pay for all of this lot. We don't get anything for free. So if you want to help the channel, you can do so using that Super Chat facility. Underneath the video window, you're going to see a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Please give the video a thumbs up. It's the most important thing you can possibly do for this video, for me, for the channel. If you're going to give it a thumbs down, then please leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you don't enjoy or what doesn't work for you. I can't make the videos better if I don't know what the problem is. Next to that, you're going to see a share arrow, so you can share this video out to social media, email, websites. Very handy, very useful for me, so please do that. And then also you're going to see a love heart with a dollar symbol in, which is super thanks. Works the same way as Super Chat. Exists on every single video here on Brooks's Bass Corner because we're a monetized channel. Again, if you see any videos here on the channel and you think, oh, that's handy, that's useful, I didn't know that, you've solved a problem for me, feel free to make a small donation using Super Thanks. Again, it all goes towards keeping the channel running. Just so you know, we are operating on the StreamYard platform, which then goes out to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. We are on Instagram tonight. I think we finally cracked that, which is good. But in order to bring these fine, lovely, divine gentlemen who are waiting here in the green room to screen, we run this on StreamYard. So in the next week or so, I have to either renew my StreamYard membership subscription or not. It costs a pretty penny. So if you enjoy watching the live chats, watching when I bring the lads on and we can have other people on the screen and I can share images and videos and all of that, as opposed to a regular live chat that you have on YouTube, just to let you know, that subscription ain't cheap. And I've just had the renewal through and it's got more expensive. So please make use of this service and contribute to the live chats, because if the live chats don't justify this outlay, I'll stop paying for it and we won't have the sort of StreamYard facility. Because like I say, it isn't cheap. So again, if you wish to help the channel, you've got the Super Chat option, you've got the Super Thanks option. You've also got the Brooks's Bass Corner merch option, which is in the description box. If you buy t-shirts, caps, glasses, mugs, phone cases, mouse mats, all of that, it all helps the channel. All of these things have to be paid for. So feel free to do that if you wish. In the description box, you're going to find timestamps so you can jump through this live chat at will. If you wish to come on and join me, Jamie, Richard, live, you can do that as well. There's an email ticker running along the top of the screen. Email me, brooksyspacecorner@gmail.com. I get the email, I send you an invite, you click on the invite, and then you can come to screen. If you don't want to be on visually, but you want to talk by audio, then you can turn the visual part of your camera off once I bring you to screen, and then we just hear your voice, which is all good. I just see Zoom has just popped up as well. There's going to be a few of us on here tonight. So in the description box, you're going to find affiliate links for the Bass Center here in the UK. You're going to find affiliate links for StreamYard, Top Cashback, vidIQ. You're then going to find bass-related affiliate links for Amazon worldwide, Andertons here in the UK, and Thomann. So if you're looking to buy a new bass, pedal, amp, accessories, gig bag, cleaning materials, strings, straps, strap locks, anything to do with bass, you can help the channel by using those links, finding the product you want, going through and purchasing that product, and then the channel gets a very small, and I can emphasize the very small because it really is very small, affiliate commission. But all those small commissions become a bigger commission the more people buy things using those affiliate links. So again, if you want to help the channel, you're thinking you're going to buy something soon, if you use the affiliate links in the description box, that helps me, helps the channel, helps the videos within the algorithm. Everything's good. After that, you're going to find social media links, and you'll find some Facebook, Instagram, no longer Twitter X, Facebook, Instagram, Be Real, Reddit, Quora, Discord, TikTok. How can I forget TikTok? There we go. Right. Gareth, yes, done that. Yes, he left. Nearland, Pete, did shed a tear hearing about Ozzy. Incredible career from the gutter to a godlike stardom. Just a bit. Sabbath forever. Well, there we are. Right, gents, bring you up the stage, shall we? And bring you lot there. Let me just do that, and it's easier for me to edit after the event. How are we all doing? All right?
Not bad.
Good.
An avalanche of audio. Right,
Evening,
say
Mike.
that again. Evening, Richard. Jamie.
Good, all right. How are you?
Hello.
I'm good. Yes, he's all right. Zoomer, you all right?
Doing great.
Superb. You've got the top T-shirt on. Well done, sir. I refer you to Zoomer's YouTube channel. Quite outstanding. If you're a Duran Duran fan, Arcadia, Power Station, loads of other stuff as well. Check it out. It is fabulous. I was having a mooch across the whole weekend. Check his videos out. He's very good. Well done.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Golfers clap. Golfers clap.
Deserves applause. Very good.
I'll take it.
Very good. Yeah. Good work there. Very thorough. Right. What's the news? What's been happening? Jamie, you can go first.
Well, okay. So first, I didn't know about Ozzy until about 40 minutes ago. I got messages from like 10 people said, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Why?" And then they go, "Oh, you don't know?"
No.
Well,
We only got it on like BBC and Sky News at about 7:20.
Yeah, they shifted it along quite quickly through the channels. Anyway, so for Neoland and for Ryan Fleming, I have to agree, Ozzy and Sabbath go way back for me. I mean, it's ironic, and I'll just be brief. One of the first sets of books that I purchased from the local shop was 2 Black Sabbath songbooks when I was first starting on electric after coming off of this. And the one book had 4 albums, the first 4 albums in it, and the other one was a Technical Ecstasy songbook. So a lot of it was written out, so it wasn't tab, it wasn't, all that, it was literal score bass lines. So I got to learn Geezer's lines quickly by reading the notes as opposed to going, 4, 2, 5. And yeah, so I got to say this, though. There was something that came out on socials that was Ozzy talking, saying he knew his time was short and he knew it was coming along. And I guess nobody expected this quick. I didn't. But you know, not to get too bogged in this, but, you know, you mentioned Chris Squire. I also thought of Neil Peart passing, you know, because here you go, you know, to your point, people, as you say, are popping off because age or illness or something. Malcolm Jamal Warner I actually knew because we were bass friends that way. I met him through another bass friend of mine. And so that was a shocker because that was a suddenly, put in quotes, suddenly he's not with us. You know, a little bit different. I was telling a friend of mine this earlier. It's a little bit different when someone leaves. When someone leaves because when someone leaves because they know it's coming.
Richard's dismantling this setup.
I thought he was dismantling a status over there. Anyway, he's changing, he's swapping preamps is what he's doing. Right.
I don't butcher basses.
Chop, 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 chop.
That's fighting talk, that is. Keep it standard.
Right. So there you go. But I mean, you know, so you know, when someone leaves suddenly, it's a surprise. When someone's kind of expecting it, it's a little easier to deal with. It's not easy, but if you know what I mean, it's a little easier.
I think what takes the breath away with this is the fact it comes so soon after that show.
Very quickly.
So were they trying to keep him until that show happened, or is it something that's just crept up over the past week or two since that show?
Fair question.
Taken hold and finished him off. I mean, look, the man had the constitution of an ox, but I can remember 15, nearly 20 years ago when he was doing that series for MTV, and they said he was very ill then. You know, and the guy was lugging down like 25 cans of Diet Coke a day, which, you know, one or two, fair enough. Like 25, it's like drinking a case of it a day. It's like that.
Wow.
It's not gonna help.
Yeah, that's a bit much. Yeah. It's a bit much. But anyway, I mean, so not to drive and continue in that moment. On a brighter note, and Mike, you know this, but the lads don't. The shop over here called the lowend.net, the low end bass shop, came up with a very nice 1988 Jaydee GA24 in pearl pink.
Oh, very nice.
Nice.
Right there. So here's the thing. So when it was posted, when Brian Barrett, who's the owner, when he posted it, I'd already had the photos 24 hours because he'd sent them to me first because he already knew.
Where did they get it from?
He purchased from an individual who had it here. And so I'm going to do a bit of sleuthery in September to find out, just out of curiosity, if that was one of the ones that was sent here in the 80s to the Aspen group that magically disappeared after a certain show. So I'm going to do some investigation. I'm just curious. But anyway, so I had a go on it, and I told him I was making the demo videos. So of course, sitting in the shop with my choice of amps and all this stuff, out came the camera. So there will be a video on my channel probably later tonight or possibly in the morning. I'll have a short as well. Craziest thing. Now you all know Jaydees don't usually come with flat wounds, right?
No.
See, that's my.
If there was a bass and a type of string that didn't go together.
Right. So I walked in and I picked this thing up and I went, flat? And so he says, play it. So I plugged it in and had a go. And oddly enough, I've never encountered, or I can't say never, but it's been a long time since I've encountered SIT strings.
Yeah.
And so these are a set of SIT flats that don't sound like flats.
Okay.
So when you see the clips of what I did, and it was just a Bosch. It wasn't anything major. The bark of the Jaydee is there, but it's gentler just for a moment because of the strings.
Do you mean like the mid-range bark from the mahogany?
More like the top end. The other thing about this particular one is the neck was maple with walnut, not mahogany three-piece. Okay. It was also very thin and very small. So
you've bought this, I assume?
No. Yeah, you would think, right? No.
First things first. For a person.
Well, first, of course, it was made for me, right? No. So he said he's going to keep it in his private collection, which includes a Wall 5, a Mark II 5, and a Wall Pro Base 1, both of which I had a Bosch on yesterday, and about 10 Olympics, which I photoed a couple of them and stuck them on the Olympic page, and people went bonkers. So I had a bit of a dash on a few things. I had a 65 precision. I picked up 2 fretless precisions, just for fun. I messed around with all kinds of stuff, but the only one I filmed was pink. So I have first right of refusal when he decides that it's going to shift it. So I have plenty of things to pick from. I can say, how about this then? And it'll come this way. But that's on the bright side. So that video will probably be up later tonight or tomorrow, possibly on my YouTube, just for fun.
Very good.
So there you go.
Good. There we are. Just before I come to you, Rich, just quickly rattling through a couple of messages here. Gareth, yes, we're going to talk about Scott's bass lessons Mark 1 video. That's coming.
Speaking of Jaydee's.
That once we've gone through, yes, we'll be talking about that. Yep. And Rich is going to give us the full top to bottom history of Vulfpeck, which I'm really looking forward
Possibly
to.
later.
Not to put you on the spot.
Nice.
Possibly later. Yeah.
Nice.
Good evening, anyway.
So, how are you? You've got your duo up and running. I do.
The duo has been out twice now. Sounds awesome, actually. It's really, it's good. So, done that. Finished my school trips for the next 7 weeks, which is good. So, all done there for the summer, sorted. Got an awfully long trip from Derby to Torquay and back on Friday for a job.
Ouch.
All the way there and all the way back. Lovely.
Ouch.
Yeah. Happy days. Never
Not
mind.
looked into a cheap travel lodge while you're down there. Although,
no.
to be fair, it's the middle of July. There's no such thing as a cheap travel
They
lodge.
aren't cheap at the moment. No, very true. No.
I think you're looking at £100.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah. So, got that coming up on Friday. Helped a friend broker some deals on some actual sort of, gear here and there.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of intriguing bases. And I'm going up to Manchester to look at trading the hand-stained jazz open pore one, possibly for a 95 Stingray. So,
Right.
2-band. So
Interesting.
yeah. Only problem is it's been monkeyed with, and somebody actually put a jazz actual single coil in it, Aguilar pickups, Aguilar preamp, and drilled holes in it and things. So I'm going to sort of, see if it's, salvageable.
Well, bearing in mind that they did when Music Man first started to allow people to configure with an extra pickup.
Yeah.
In about the 2003, 2004.
Yeah.
The first option was humbucker with a single coil.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it might have been they were trying to replicate that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got an Aguilar humbucker in the bridge in mine, and I've got a John East circuit, and it's a much better bass.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, it's tonally very different, but a lot more adaptable than a standard Stingray. But it's up to you, isn't it?
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So I'm actually generally planning on sort of, if I actually sort of get it, I'm generally planning on converting it back from 4 controls back to 3. The only problem is what to do with the actual jack socket in the edge. So I was thinking of turning that into an XLR possibly. So
sounds funky.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, and you?
Good idea.
Well, different. You're going down
It'll
the
work.
Wow.
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 Yeah, one of those. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. How are you, Zoomer? All right?
Good. As I said earlier, I just, trying to stick to my weekly YouTube upload schedule. I've been pretty good about it, but yeah, sometimes it's more challenging than others. But yeah, it keeps. I feel good about posting weekly because it keeps my home studio in use, and I don't feel guilty about, wow, look at all this equipment I'm not using, and not to mention, just keeps your chops up, because I don't play live much anymore. It's just something, quite honestly, we're just not really into it. I'm just not interested in hours upon hours of rehearsal for just not much pay. It's I don't
The
dig
novelty
the
wanes.
What
Yeah.
is this thing called? Rehearsal. You just
It's this thing called
go out
pay.
and gig it.
What is this thing you speak of?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're right about the rehearsal, right? There's less and less of that, but I think, and I came out of way back in the day playing in an original band, playing original
Yeah.
material, and nowadays the only way you're going to make any money is either doing a jazz gig or strictly being in a cover band, and it's fun. I that's the one thing that I do is play in a cover band when my bass player friends can't make it, and say, hey, can you pop in just for this one gig? And it has its appeal, like once or twice a year, but yeah, I couldn't do. I don't know how you guys do it. It's too much for me. I'd rather be in the studio.
I think it's a frame
Tribute
of
earnings.
mind. Yeah, I think it's frame of mind, and
Yeah, it is.
once you've been doing it long enough, and I've always reminded myself, remember what it was like when you started.
Yeah,
Because you'd always built up through your life that this was what you wanted to do, and now you're doing it. So I can remember the nights on Fridays and Saturdays when I didn't have gigs, and you were sat there going, when is this going to change? When am I going to have more work? When am I going to have... And once that's your ethos for working, if you like, you never look a gift horse in the mouth ever again. You're always looking for more work, looking to do other things. Well, as Rich is doing his duo, I'm sure probably if you'd asked him about 5 years ago, would you like to do a duo? He'd probably gone, absolutely not.
Absolutely.
But there comes a point where you reappraise the work you've got and the work that's available to you. And certainly now here in the UK, I mean, I don't have a duo anymore. I did years of doing duos and trios. But now I'm not sure I would have... Well, I'm doing my YouTube channel, and that's my investment, my time investment, if you like.
right.
But
Big investment.
yeah, it is,
Right.
because like next week will be the 5th anniversary, so celebration live chat next week.
Cake.
All
Cake.
right.
Cake indeed.
Cake
Cake
time.
and wine. Yes, it's all on
Cake. What about beer?
order.
Come on.
But to do
Beer.
a
Set up
duo
the IV.
now,
Could
I'm
be an
not
idea.
sure. Unless the duo had like a guaranteed... If someone said, right, well, there's like 3 months worth of work, that's what we're going to do. Unless someone presented that to me, I wouldn't want to be putting a duo together from scratch, because the market is flooded with other duos, and everyone is fighting for the lowest. Venues will say, well, we can get a duo for 150 quid, and it's like, well, we charge 200, and then someone else will go, well, we'll do it for 120. It's like a race to the bottom. I'm not interested in that. I'd rather put my time into my channel. So,
eBay gigs.
yeah,
eBay
and it's almost like a raffle. It's like, well,
It
who
is,
wants the gig? Who's going to buy enough tickets to...
Right.
Right. Who's buying the owner beer while you're selling out the show and playing for free?
And it's just the thought of doing that in terms of a duo now. I wouldn't have I just haven't got the gumption to want to do it. I got offered something a couple of years ago. A manager that I used to work for when I used to book the bands into a chain of venues in London approached me. He was working for a burger restaurant. It's a chain of burger restaurants, but it's not McDonald's or Burger King or anything like that. It's a bit more restauranty. And he said, look, we're thinking of putting live music into one of our venues, and if it takes off, then I'd like you to book the rest of the music, because the other restaurants will follow suit. I went down, had a meeting, sorted out all the logistics. Where's the PA coming from? Where's it going to go? How are we doing this? Did it all. The guy I was going to do the duo with, messaged him. Yep, love to do it. Great. Yep, super. Did a gig with him that weekend, and he showed absolutely no interest whatsoever. And I was like, hold on a minute. I've just generated literally 50 gigs, and you don't want to do it? Oh, I'm not bothered. I don't want to do it. And it was like, well, without you, I can't do it. And I tried a couple of other people, and they were like, too busy, don't want to do it. So I let it go.
Ah,
And that's the situation you get. People
yeah.
don't want to commit to doing things, especially if they've got their own bands and stuff. A duo is
Yeah.
like a bit on the side, as opposed to being your main thing. I mean, Rich will experience this as time goes on. You'll have duo gigs in, and then other stuff's going to come in. So you then have to say, well, what's my priority?
You have
Choose.
to choose.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's right.
that plate spinning
Yeah.
episode. Which am I doing? And it will get tricky.
Yeah.
But I mean, as long as you've got maybe some local guys that can stand in for you.
Yeah, I've actually got the sort of the duo now, the trio, with of course the actual same actual chap in it, and the live tribute show is 6 of us, and that's booked up until about Easter 2027. So yeah. So
I hear you.
I wanted to say
busy
something,
enough.
or touch upon something that Jamie said, because I could totally relate to having to learn early on by looking at. I had all these like Hal Leonard, transcriptions of these
Yeah,
books.
yeah.
Obviously I had a bunch of Duran ones, but I had a bunch of them, and my ear wasn't good enough then to figure everything out just like that. So I would look at the music and say, oh, that's where that note is. And when you look at regular music, not tabs, you actually have the timing information too. So you're like, okay, 8th note, 16th note, okay, that's a rest. And it was a great way to learn, because I was so motivated to figure out what that song was, whether it be the bass line or the piano. I actually been playing piano longer than bass, but anyway, it's a great way to learn how to read music, is to just have the music for something you love, something you already want to figure out in front of you, and in time you'll just decode it if you have at it long enough.
Yep.
Yeah, I've actually been reading for about 48 years now. So yeah.
You're probably a much better reader than I am. I'm great at reading charts and simple
trained,
melodies,
so,
but
yeah.
but I can read. But yeah, anyway.
The amount of time you spend reading versus the amount of time people either throw tabs or numbers. I mean, I get numbers all the time. I have somewhere around here, I have a stack of things that people wrote out, and it's all Nashville number, because that's what most people here use for simple major and minor setup.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you can read staff, then you're ahead of a lot of your counterparts, because most of them don't take the time to learn to read.
Yeah, totally.
Can I just butt in for 2 secs? Mike, your mic's very quiet this evening.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
It's very quiet.
Still,
even on top of it.
Ayo.
Oh,
hello.
He came to life.
Tell you what,
he has risen.
No. I was using that as the instrument input on a recording earlier today, and it was super hot. I was using the GB, and it was peaking out all the time, so I had to drop it down.
Got it.
There we go. I'm back, Rich. I'm back. Just very quickly, there's messages here. Gareth, I saw your email and I responded to it. That's a funky looking number, isn't it? Paul Ruthven, Jamie will know him.
I do.
He's selling a sort of thrown together Stingray sort of thing with a jazz neck and a bit of a contraption. Quite cheap. But anyway, Gaz was pointing me towards that. Lauren Quintana, good to see you. Hope you're well. Stacey saying hello to everyone. That's all good. Killer Bo 1321. Yes, Ozzy died today. We did a little segment at the top of the live chat. If you want to, you can scroll the time point back and you'll be able to hear it. If you wish to do so, you can. That's up to you. But thank you for checking in. Good to see you. Gareth, first one that's booked gets prioritised. This is talking about gigs and depping. Get prioritised unless you have deps who can step in. Yes. And then I've replied to you, which is that's generally how I've always worked. However, one thing I've come across working with Uncle Funk in recent times is sometimes I might have taken a gig. In fact, I've got an instance of it later in the year where I took a Queen show, And now I've got a run of 4 Uncle Funk gigs, and that Queen show is slap bang in the middle at the wrong end of the country. And with Uncle Funk, I think on that gig we're probably going to be sharing a vehicle. I'm at the opposite end of the country. Unfortunately, there is no way I'm doing that Queen show and travelling from one end to the other for one show. So I've already depped that out. It's a couple of months in advance, and there's about 4 deps, so it's not an issue. But I just looked at it and thought, even though that show is worth more money than the one I would be on that night, the run of 4 shows means that there's no sense in keeping that Queen show. And it's fine. It gives the Deps a chance to sort of brush up and stay on top of it as well. So there we go. TK, rest easy, Aussie legend. Correct.
Yes.
Now, okay, right, I've got a bunch of topics here. So we're going to crack on with, and I would like people who aren't live, and we have literally the 3 wise monkeys and me.
Cheeky monkeys.
And I want you people, cheeky monkeys, and I want those of you who are on the text section. Scott Space Lessons did a video last week where they finally, after all this time, addressed looking back at Mark King, level 42, the slap style of playing. I want to know your opinions. I certainly have no axe to grind with Scott. I've met him twice at the London-based guitar show, but other than going, hi, how you doing, and doing whatever we were doing, I've never spoken to the guy. I've never heard from him. I've had no comments on any of my content, and that's perfectly okay. I'm not having a go at Scott or Ian or anything, but that video, to me, just my opinion, no one has to agree with this, and you can all have your own opinions on this. It felt half-baked. It felt like they hadn't done their research properly. Some of the stuff regarding tracks, albums, equipment was literally, they were grasping at straws. And all that stuff is there. Google is your friend. To say that early tapes was recorded in 82, it wasn't. It was recorded in 80. It was released in 82.
80.
It was recorded in 80 because it was Love Me in Love, and that album, and playing those songs on the gigs that got them the record deal with Polydor, I guess in 80, that led then to Love Games and the first album in 81. It came out in 82 because Polydor had to buy the rights from Andy Soiker, which gave them an album to put out in between the first album and Pursuit of Accidents coming out. That's why I'm guessing that is the reason Scott and Ian got that wrong. But there were other things in there. No mention of light gauge strings, no mention of Mark's fingerstyle playing, no real mention of singing while playing, and it just felt a little half-assed to me. Perhaps a little too much clowning around and not actually dealing with the subject matter. Now, if that's their way of doing it, and I've said here on the channel before, I tend not to look at Zuma is an exception. You got lucky, my friend, because I tend not to look at other bass players' YouTube channels because A, I don't want to be accused of copying other people's stuff and doing what they want, and I just don't have the time. I'm so focused on doing my channel and pushing this along because I'm very aware, and I can say I'm very aware. I'm 53. Time is of the essence. I don't have time there to, like a 25-year-old might, and I can spend all my time looking at other people's channels, and I ain't got the time. Too much goes on in my life to be able to do that. But it just felt to me like that video, they had an opportunity to do a real humdinger of a video, especially with everything that Scott can throw at his videos, production team he's got, the people behind him. It just felt like a missed opportunity. I hope they do a second video and he'll address some of the things that weren't addressed properly in that first video. I have my own Mark King related video coming up in the autumn. It should have been in the spring, but someone at a UK based retailer decided to put their video up not knowing I was doing one along the same lines, and so I've had to mothball that. So that
I can guess who that is.
That's so they weren't to know. They
No,
weren't to, and
absolutely.
we're free to put out any material we wish. But I'd been working on that best part of 6 to 8 months, and literally the video looks belting. and I just had to mothball it and just say, you ain't finishing that, because it's going to conflict and mine would get lost in the trample. And I just thought, nah, I'll hold on. So in about 7 or 8 weeks, there will be what I think is a humdinger of a video, and I just hope everyone enjoys watching it when it comes out.
Let's go.
So Gareth, you said you thought Scott's video was half-assed and not much research into it. That's there's no grey area there, Gaz. Lauren Quintana, in my opinion, they don't really like Level 42 and Mark King. Quite obvious. Okay. No Jaydees. This is it. This is all of this.
But
watch Jamie. Go on, Rich. Go on.
The plus point, Ian was playing a S2, so
5
string, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I guess they probably knew they were going to be doing that video. There was a schedule, and one of them thought we should buy one of these. And they were basically, what can you get your hands on? That's probably what.
Quite possibly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It
Your
was
thoughts,
generally
Mr. Pitt?
covered. Oh,
Go on.
sorry.
No, go on, Rich. Go.
It was
Go on, Rich. Go on.
covered very briefly. They put the effort into the playing, which is good. The actual pair of them, but the sort of history, the accolades, the band, the actual brands of the bass and things, completely just nothing there. So yeah.
Jamie.
So I watched it once because curiosity, right? I mean, I don't watch every video that pops up, but that one didn't. I'm like, okay. So the first thing, obviously, if you're going to speak of Mark, what's the first thing you grab? Okay. I mean,
an alembic, of course.
Right, of course. Yeah, considering the 6 of them that I had in my hands yesterday. Right. Okay.
The funny thing, before you go any further, they missed out they didn't even equate status in the first chunk of Level 40.
Barely at all.
They only thought of it once the King bass came out. And
I
they
noticed
hadn't equated that, he was using them from 83, 84 was when we heard the first recordings.
Yeah.
But, 85, 86, 87, he was using Jaydees as much as statuses together. You never knew if they were doing a TV appearance which one they were going to have. But there was no mention of any of that. They did get in the GB stuff, but there was no mention of a whole load of different things, and very little mention of Jaydee now being used. And I thought,
at all. Yeah. That was, I mean,
that's actually probably because Mark King's basses are not made by Mike Lowell. So.
Yeah.
Well, there's that. There's that. They love their lulls.
I just thought for the leading bass YouTube channel, and they've probably been inundated with people say doing a Mark King video, do a Mark King video, do a Mark King video. It just felt like they'd scripted it on like the back of a napkin. I thought, really? You've got people like Nick Wells behind the scenes, and Nick does or has done loads of stuff on Mark. And did no one read the script? Did no one go, actually, do you know what? You missed out some stuff here. But like I say, I have no axe to grind. I'm just opening up to opinion and conversation.
I don't think it was, I mean, I think for an attempt, they tapped it very gently. I mean, because, I was speaking with a lad earlier and we were talking about what did he call it? The FB something RR status, the red one that, was posed in the pictures in the early ones.
FPPR.
Yeah,
thank you. That one, right.
2000 red. Yeah.
Postman Pat Red.
Yeah.
That one, Postman Pat Red. Thank you. I'd forgotten that bit. And they didn't pull into that. And you're right. He had the status 5-string, which to your point, he probably just said, "Oh, I'll have that." Truth be told, I mean, there's a lot of stuff from Mark King. Everybody, if you ask anyone who knows Level 42 and you say, what was the first thing of Level 42 you saw? They would say Wembley.
Live at Wembley. Yeah.
Right? So what was at
Wembley? What they could
Wembley?
have done was a 3-parter and gone the first chunk up to the brothers leaving, then
Yep.
do Staring at the Sun through till 94, and
Right.
then you could do from Mark coming back in 98 through to now. That would
Right.
be your
And see, and you
three-part.
could have chronicled the instruments and all the other thing is, I actually made a comment on there because it made me laugh. You also didn't think of the fact that he's playing, singing, and chewing gum.
Yeah.
I mean, just we're not trying to be nicky, you know, but I mean, think about it, because I remember him saying at one point that, you know, he did that to keep his mouth from getting dry while he was singing and doing all this.
That's right.
And you've got the mouth going, the hands going, and the voice coming out at the same time. Okay, I mean, I don't have a bone to pick with those guys either.
You can do that then.
Right. See, so I mean, I don't have a bone to pick with them either. I just think that they could have definitely researched and given him a proper setup. I mean, that simple. Rich, Zoom.
Agreed.
Well, I have to bring out my prop, this little ruler, so I can go like this, because I haven't watched the video.
Right.
But I
It won't
still
take
have
you
some,
long. It's
but I
about
still have
11
something
minutes.
to add. I genuinely have something to add, because I did see in their video when they focused on Rio, and I came away with the same feeling, this consensus, which was like, dude, you didn't talk about this and you didn't talk about that. I realized they were just talking about one song as opposed to, you know, showcasing John in their, you know, in his entirety. But it's still, I don't think they mentioned the SB1000. And as a matter of fact, I think it was Ian who said, oh, if you want to replicate the sound, just, you know, turn up your back pickup a little bit. That's the last thing I would do. So,
It's not.
yeah. So I walked away with the same feeling, like, you guys, and it was
Maybe.
like 70% of the way there. Like it was just, you know, it could have been a great video, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe it's down to, don't actually forget, we are much older than, of course, those two.
That's
so
true
maybe
too,
Mark
Yeah, but
King and the band mean much more to us
There's
because
no
they're about
excuse.
20 years younger than us.
There's no excuse. They've got
51.
Google as a research tool. But
Yeah.
also, my point is, this is the biggest bass channel, whether
Yes.
anyone likes it or not. They've got the most number of subscribers, most number of followers. He could put a video out of boiling a cabbage and it would get 100,000 views.
Yeah.
Speaking of cooking shows,
But
Oh yeah, well,
Hassan Iqbal, what is this? It's a strip show, can't you tell? Idiot. Sorry. Well, I mean,
okay,
I don't
so
wanna be rude.
shall
Yeah,
we go?
exactly. Yeah, I know where that's been, thanks.
That's
Hassan,
right.
this is a bass channel. I know you've probably come in off of a short feed, a vertical live stream feed. We're talking bass guitars, my friend. Bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects. We're all bass players. If you want to join in the conversation, feel free. If you're here for cooking, we're not doing that. That's next week. So, yeah.
yeah,
Like so. Like so.
one week that'll happen. So, yeah,
We'll have a curry
my
live.
point. Well, that too. My point is, they're the biggest bass channel out there. They have huge amounts of cash. He is earning money like it's falling off trees, right? He's got video editors that work for MGM. He's got the best people in the business working for him. That's why his stuff looks so polished, slick. You can't tell me someone didn't read that script beforehand and went, actually, Scott, there's some stuff you've missed here. That's my point. If you're going to do it,
Yeah.
and you're going to do trailers for it in the pre-run up to that video going live and all of that, you make sure it's really... Look, when I did my bass collection video, as I said, I spent 55 hours editing that. It took me 3 hours to film it and like 49 hours to put it all together, right? And at the end of that editing, the final editing session, I looked myself in the mirror and said, can you do any better than this? Because if you can't, if this sinks, we're knackered. You've got nothing else to do to offer up. I don't think they're doing that. I think they're thinking, well, we'll just cobble some stuff together and we'll film it and we'll be it'll be Happy
£1,000.
Larry's, and yeah,
off
off we
there,
go,
yeah.
and that'll be another 100 grand in the bank.
Mm.
When you put
Right.
yourself out as the leading YouTube-based channel, and you are commanding an audience like that, it's a bit like news channels when 9/11 happened. You have to realize the gravitas with which you're delivering that stuff. Look, here on YouTube, some people just treat this as like a bit of a hobby and it's a bit of a laugh and all of that. This is now replacing Netflix, Amazon Prime as the most watched medium on TV.
Yep.
Terrestrial channels are going down the Kazi. Today, here in the UK,
They're going
the
in the loo.
terrestrial channels have asked YouTube to start promoting the content that they have been putting onto YouTube, because if they don't and start earning some money from it, the terrestrial channels will be gone. They've got no money coming in. And so when you're putting stuff up on you, I mean, I'm wary of it. Like, this live stream is now like a third of the size it used to be. But this is receiving increased views because of this format. I'm very wary. Things I say and things I put up now could resonate for the next 25 years. I don't know, but if YouTube is up for the next 25 years, these videos are there. And so you kind of, when you're putting up something and it's the first video about Mark King and Level 42 you've done, you owe it to your audience primarily. But if you're putting yourself out there as a provider of information and historical retrospective, you know, this is what this player has done, and you've got to get it right. Sorry, maybe I'm making a big meal of it. I don't know if people...
No,
but
You're
you know,
doing
it's like
fine.
Zuma put up his things about Duran Duran and the play-alongs, and they were wrong. He'd be swamped with Duran Duran fans going, that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's not right.
And if I get it wrong, I say so, and I say, hey, you know what? In that
Correct.
last video, I did this, and because it's a learning process, and you know,
Honest,
it's,
I mean, maybe I sound like I'm getting on a soapbox. I'm not. I just
No,
think
no.
if you're a channel with like 50 subscribers, you can get away with stuff. But when you've got over 1 million heading towards 2 million, or maybe he has got 2 million subscribers, I don't know.
I think he has
You
now.
owe it to the people that follow you. Take your word as gospel. You've got to get this stuff right. We used to have this at the magazine, where occasionally we'd have writers and they just go off on a tangent, and you'd read the copy and go, "This is crap. They're making this up. That never happened. That didn't happen. Where did you get?" And then you'd ring and say, "Where did you get this information?" "Oh, I found it online." That doesn't mean it's right. The internet isn't all truth. You know, you've got to do your research. You have to read books. You've got to watch interviews. You have to know all this stuff, because people will be hanging on your information and the way you're delivering that information as that's their context. Then they're using that as their point of reference. So whenever I used to write stuff for the mag, in terms of fact, I would always try and as long as there was time to do it, I would double check things. And I could be up at 4 o'clock in the morning still writing a piece and still going back and referring and finding as many links online. Did I get that right? Did I get that date right? Did he play in that band? Did that happen? What was that album? Oh, got the album wrong. Right, change that. Did you get the track right? Was the bass right? You have to get these things right, because again, stuff can be scanned in that I wrote in the mag in 2005. It's still online. This stuff's still online.
It's all out there, yeah, that's right, yeah.
It's following you.
Find this stuff. Yes, exactly.
Integrity is integrity. I personally don't think there's a difference between having 100 subscribers and 3,000 or however many SBL has, because
no difference.
But maybe that is the age thing, Mike. I don't know, because maybe that type of integrity doesn't matter. For me, it matters. And my measly, 3,000 subscribers, it doesn't matter to me, because I want to present the story as factual as I can, and maybe that just doesn't matter, and it just comes back to the same old quantity over quality that we see a lot nowadays. I hate to be,
the more you dump things out, the less it flows, because if you're doing that much content, you're just groping at things after a while.
Yes.
So, Zoom, you said the word integrity. That means when you play a gig, when you listen to a gig, when you read somebody's stuff, you're looking for that. And to my way of thinking, I've played shows and gigs where there's 5 people. I've played shows where there's 100,000 people in front of me. It
Yep.
is no different. My integrity says that when I play a show for 100K, or I play a show for 5 and the guy washing the loo, it's going to be the exact same energy and the exact same because those 5 people and the loo guy are the same. They're expecting the same as 100,000 are. Same idea to me.
Was he washing the loo while you were using it?
We never know. We don't speak of these things. Give him £2 and send him on his way. Okay, got it.
That's right.
One quick point.
Was he using the loo?
Video,
That's not for video anyway.
which was
That's another channel.
But
just actually one quick point for the actual video, which was, I don't think there was a script. It was very, very just chucked together. It was a, laddish
I
chat.
just expect a bit more.
Yeah, I do.
You
yeah.
know, I
Agreed,
think
For 1 million subscribers, you better.
where's the polish? Where's the polish?
Yeah.
And why
in the
haven't you
can.
got at least have like a list of pointers and things you're going to go? It felt like 2 blokes talking down the pub.
It did. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
And I just
Except
thought,
one kept
this
saying
is-
status.
Well, yeah.
How dare
poke
they?
in the eye, keep doing that.
Anyway,
But it just felt for something that they'd avoided doing for so long. When you then do it and you've got the horns blowing, it's coming, and that was it. It was like, oh.
yeah, but like
Now,
you
if
said,
that
they
had
have
been,
a
if that had
team.
been membership content and people had to pay for that, they'd be asking for their money back. I think. Maybe.
I would be.
Yeah.
Maybe it's too close to my heart. This topic, I don't know.
But like you said, they have a team, so
Well,
we can
yeah.
excuse, Scott and the other fellow.
What I don't get is I know Nick Wells is part of that team, and Nick Wells was one of my former editors at the Bass Mag, and he's interviewed Mark, and he's produced films on bass playing, and he's done loads of articles on Mark King and Level 42, and I can't believe he didn't at least either look at the script or see the final video and go, lads, before you press upload, I think you just need to record a little extra. But maybe there's a second video to come. Who knows? They're probably
shall
loving the
see.
fact that I've spent 20 minutes of my time talking about their video. But there we go. Because now loads of people will go and watch it who haven't looked at it.
Actually,
But there we go.
you've spent more time chatting about it than they did making it.
There you go.
Probably.
Well played,
Or
Rich.
have
Well
I?
played. Well said, man. Well said.
Yes.
And on that note, it's
Touche. On that
Vimto break
note,
time.
yes, Gareth Harrison, exactly the same prep, no matter how big or small the gig pisses me off, going to
Fact.
see a band and they have an iPad on stage. Learn your SHIT. Correct, Gaz?
E.
Exactly my point that I've made many times on this channel. Yes, correct.
It's one
Lorenzo,
thing.
nice to listen to you. Buonasera. Thank you, Lorenzo.
Buonasera.
Good to see you. You were here last week. Good to see you.
Yes, he was.
Thank you for coming on again.
The only time an iPad is a necessity, and it's kind of funny because I have this sitting here. I had to purchase one of these because I was asked to sub in at the last minute on a country thing that I didn't know the artist or the songs, and I had a day to figure out the whole set. So I asked the guy, because I was traveling back and forth, do you care if I use charts? He said, use whatever you want, because I didn't have time to learn them. That's one
Sure.
thing. Yeah, but if you're doing something weekly or bi-weekly or what have you, where you're playing kind of the same set with the same bunch and you're doing this thing over and over, you shouldn't need charts or pad or phone or what have you at that point. So to speaking to Gaz, that's something that happens so often, it's ridiculous. It truly is. So
It never used to be a thing. I've mentioned it here before, but I first noticed there was a problem when I used to book the bands into a chain of venues in town.
Yep.
And this would probably be around sort of 2012. So this has been going for a couple of years, this chain, and me booking the bands in. And I started to get text messages and phone calls from the managers at the venues, and they'd say, and I wouldn't be there, obviously, I'd be off doing my own gigs, and they'd say, got a bit of a problem with the band. And you'd say, okay, well, what's the problem? The singer's got an iPad in front of her, or he. I said, right. And they said, it's really disconcerting. It's literally in front of their face. You can't see their face.
Right.
They're reading the lyrics. He said, we expect the bands to know what they're doing. I said, well, it might be a dep, it might be a last minute dep. I said, I've not seen this, but I'll tell you what, I'll come down next week and I'll see what's going on. And lo and behold, band was in, told me it was a regular lineup, turn up, wasn't the regular lineup, they had a dep singer, and the dep singer didn't know the words. Read them off an iPad. And then this started to happen more and more as people were buying up iPads, and would, in inverted commas, would-be singers decided they were going to have an iPad in front of them, slap bang in front of their face, which is great for everyone to watch, and they're literally just reading the lyrics. It was like, so I had to say to certain band leaders, that stops now. If I book you on one more gig and I get report this happens, and I will have the managers watching, you won't be playing these gigs anymore. And that was the way it had to be. And then roll on a couple of years later, I was in a band. We had a change of singer. And again, we ended up with someone in the band, much to my annoyance and the drummers, who did exactly the same thing. And her card was already marked about 18 months before, because we got her booked in on a gig on Christmas Eve. And quite a big gig. Quite a big gig. And we turned up and I said, are you all right with the songs? I haven't really learned anything. It's like,
great.
You what? You haven't, you've had over a month to get this together, and we sent you live record. Oh, I can't remember lyrics. What? Why are you even here? What are you talking about? Oh, well, I don't know. And as we got on the stage and set up, we're all going, what the hell are we going to do? And she's got her iPad literally in front of her. And I said, I'm really not happy about this. And she goes, and how does the first song start?
Ooh.
I said, you've got to be kidding. You must know. I said, you've had all the stuff. Why haven't you learnt it? Oh, like I just can't remember words. I can't remember. And I was like, oh, my God. We got halfway through the set, and we're sort of getting, I hate to say it, we got away with one. And we get to a Christmas song. It was Slade. Merry Christmas, everybody. And she goes, she came over to me before, like, getting towards the end of the song before, and she goes, how does that Slade song go? How does it? I can't tell you. We're in the middle of playing. What are you talking about? And so I remember saying to the other guys in the back, she ain't working with us ever again. That ain't happening. Not while I'm in it. She got the gig about 18 months later. And I said, no. And she turned and she started doing it all again, reading lyrics. And I said, look, we're going in to do rehearsals. You've got to learn this stuff. If you can't remember lyrics, you shouldn't be in this band. Really. In fact, I'm not prepared to have it. And it's sort of, we tolerated it for about 4 or 5 weeks. And then it was like, I'm out of here. And I don't think she lasted too long either. But it was just embarrassing. It's like, come on. You know, you're getting paid good money. Do the work.
Do what?
And if you're not up to the work, don't put yourself out as a singer. Really. You're in the wrong business. You want to be a script reader. That's what you want to be.
So unfortunately, a lot of times what happens now, especially here, there's iPads and phones everywhere because people make requests, and they're going to read off for the request, perhaps.
Of course, yeah.
Which is fine. That part's fine.
I can make right. So I've over the past, where are we now? July 7, 8, 9. Past 9 months, I've done a request show in London. The way that works with pads, it's not necessary. Well, the front guy may need it for chords and potentially lyrics if he doesn't know the song, but also the pad works for the drummer, so he can, while the guy's chatting to the audience, queuing up what the next song is, the drummer is already working out what the next 3 songs are ahead. So he's already got the that's that one, that's that one, that's that one. It's very hard doing those request shows because it's literally hundreds of thousands of songs. Now, the guy fronting it can dictate which songs are going to happen and which ones aren't. But
if he's good at reading the audience, for sure.
I mean, I do it, and I don't have a pad, but I'll get the band leader to say to me, "It's B, E, G, A. Follow me," and it'll be like, "Fine, okay, we'll get there." And thankfully, I've done enough playing over the years that I know a lot of songs, but I can work out to a certain extent what, how something's going to work, or I'll have heard that song enough on the radio that I'll go, I know the format, we'll get there.
There's a thread or a belief in cover band, and this is something I've heard a lot about. Now, mind you, I haven't played cover band in a very long time because I work with all the artists that I do. But there's a saying that goes on around here, and it's this. When somebody says, if you're going downtown and you're going to listen to music, they say, "Oh, it's good enough." And you've heard me say this before. But it's a belief that because you're playing for a bunch of drunken what have you, that if you know just about this much of the song, then you can just get through it. And a lot of them are doing this. And it's disappointing because if it's good enough, then you could just put in a jukebox that plays Spotify, or you could pop in something that's something else other than live band to get the songs just right, if that's what you want to hear. There are some bands that go on and they play everything note for note without anything, and they put on an actual show, kind of like you do with the feathered thing and all that cool stuff. Some of the ones do that as well, but I don't see too many of those these days. Most of them are popping something up in one of these and going, "Oh, look, I'm going to read through this real quick." So, yeah. Here we go again.
Yeah. Let's just call his bluff, shall we?
Shall we do?
I will just wait and see if he comes back with something. Keep going, Jay. Don't stop your flow.
Don't stop the nattering.
No, I'll sort them out. Don't worry about that.
No worries. No, I think that there's some time and a place. Now, in the chat, King Charles said something in his band. They've got iPads on stage and they use in-ear monitors.
That's what we have
and control their own mixes. That's good.
Funny thing is, when I've stated my stance on iPads before, people have gone, "Well, I've seen your Uncle Funk videos and you've got an iPad." Yes, because it's got a 10-band mixer on it for all the different inputs, so I can boost things and drop things in my ears. I'm not looking at chord charts. Song arrangements are in there. Yeah.
Exactly. So the clarification of the iPad for the King is if you're using it as a mixer, as for your in-ear mix or for your monitor mix, that's different than saying, "Okay, let's see, I'm going to play Freebird, and then I'm going to play this, and then we're going to do that. Oh, wait. Oh, got it." It's a completely different thing. I mean, when I run out and some of the things I do when we have in-ears, everybody's got their phone or something flipped sideways, and they've got the whole, we're mixing up our ears. That's a different story. I think what we're emphasizing is the fact that they use it to play the songs. And again, everybody's first choice is play it like you wrote it.
Yeah.
So that's why I play artist gigs all the time, because I have to learn their stuff. So the only time I'm going to pull up charts is if I have, like I explained, a 1-day or a 2-day turnaround where I can't learn 24 songs and have them nailed because of what they are.
You mean you're not Mike Brooks, who can nail 44 in 6.5 hours?
No, I don't eat that much cake either, but anyway.
Too easy. That one.
I gave you that one.
You opened yourself up for that one.
I did.
The way I compare it is, if you went to see an orchestra and they're all reading sheet music, you know that in advance.
Right.
If you go and see a theatre show with a tribute band or a performer, or you're going to a pub or a club, or it's a function or whatever, you don't expect to see a rock, pop, soul, funk covers band reading pads.
Right.
Do you? Or, well, now clearly you do.
Some people do,
in the last 10 to 13 years, that's what's become the norm. And I can tell you, there's been a few times I've gone out and done function gigs, and younger members of the band have gone, "Well, where's your iPad?" iPad? What are you on about, pad? "Well, how do you know the songs?" I said, "They're in there. I've learnt them. I've spent the last 2 days learning them.
Yep.
And then they're like, I remember a gig I did about 3 years ago, and everyone in the band was literally, it was like playing with a bunch of Frankensteins that hadn't woken up. They're all like reading their pads. And I'm like, that's not a show. How is that even entertaining? And I found myself during the thing standing off mic going, 1, 2, 3, 4, a chorus, 3, 2, 1, and it's like, come on, do your work. But then there are people that have only just got that gig that morning, where someone in the band has gone, I've been offered £100 more, I'm going off to do that. You come in and debt for me, and it's not good enough. That's not acceptable. In my book, it's not acceptable. But
well, again, it's the same thing
we're
here.
in a
If I see
era.
people do it,
That's what people want to do. You go for it.
It's all technology.
I can see the lovely Phil DeHove there. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you. Hey, hang on. You're meant to be out seeing bands. What are you doing on my live chat? You're meant to be out having a night off, getting a few going on. What's going on here? It looks the same from the audience perspective, to be fair. Yeah, exactly. I say that as a big IEM and O. Yeah, but what we're saying, Phil, is there's a difference between people having an iPad in front of them, reading lyrics, or musicians just stood there, literally like statues, because they don't know the chords. Different if it's there, or you might have you might have your set list on your pad. Lots of people do that. The eyes aren't what they were, and under poor lighting, an iPad is so much better than a piece of paper and a written out set list. But it is what it is. Whether it's Netflix or a 25 band EQ, what are you doing watching Netflix on your pad? You can't be doing that. Come on. Oh, wow. You've just reminded me. I did a Queen tribute show a couple of years ago. I won't mention any names, but I caught the drummer. I could tell he wasn't concentrating. He was on a dating app while we were playing. I caught the out.
Right.
And I'm thinking, that ain't the right drum part. He was playing one-handed, and he was one-handed typing. And
that makes jokes all come to themselves.
And I stood backwards, and I had a look to my left to see, and I could see it all on the screen. When I pulled him up after the gig, and I said, what do you think you're doing? He said, what? I said, you know what? I said, I've just seen you do it. I don't know what you're talking about. I said, yes, you do. And I told the band leader, I said, I'm sorry, I said, I've never come across that in like nearly 30 years of playing. What the heck? What is he doing? And he denied it until the band leader said, until you admit it, I'm not paying you. And eventually he admitted, yeah, all right, I was on a dating app. I wasn't concentrating on the gig.
At least he wasn't watching movies.
Do you want, the gig was playing serious money. It's like, do you want to do this seriously and build a career, or are you just dicking about for a laugh? Sorry, I'm on one tonight. I'm vexed, clearly. But
angry and vexed Mike strikes again.
Quite.
Yeah. Vexed Mike.
Becoming a recurring theme.
Vexed Mike, yeah.
Vexed Mike.
Oh, Zuma, what's happened to you? Oh, sorry. Yes. I see what. Yes, you messaged. Yeah. So I could. The thing is, I can see you on the StreamYard
right?
window,
Yeah.
But it was kind of faded out, and I realized, you've dropped off the camera. Right.
I was on the same bathroom schedule as Chris.
Very good. Very good.
He was hiding out.
Gareth Harris, how can you interact with other band members if you're looking at an iPad? Exactly. Yep. How's that entertaining? You don't go and see bands playing at Hammersmith or Wembley, and they're reading pads. Come on.
None.
Phil, I said I was going to turn up. No live will hold. Oh, very good. Bless you, my child. Well done, sir. Well done. But yes, so that's kind of my...
keep in mind this too. You just said something interesting. You said nobody, if you go to Hammersmith or if you go to Wembley or you go to the Odeon, etc., you're not going to see somebody playing on pads. You know why? Because they're playing original material. They're not playing cover band. They're not playing tribute band for the most part. They're playing their stuff. Right. They don't need a pad or a phone, what have you, because they put it here first.
Well, there's also the fact that they've done loads of rehearsal. And
I
absolutely understand that in sort of wedding bands, function bands, what have you, and I'm privy to this as much as anyone else, in that you can play with loads of bands. You've never met anyone in that band.
Right.
And you don't know what the arrangements are going to be. But invariably, the stuff I do, I always ask if I can have a live recording, if there is one, because then that makes me au fait with their arrangements. But if it's there's a couple of bands I play with where they bolt songs onto each other. So you end up going from one song into another without breaks.
Right.
Medleys,
You just learn. Yeah, kind
Yes.
of. But it's not a medley.
It's not a mashup.
In terms of, it's more of a mashup than so you might be playing the rhythm to one song and the guy singing or the girl singing over the top, singing the melody of another song in key, of course.
What I like about you and ROCK in the USA.
Oh, it's nice for you to say.
Two songs.
But you end up learning the original versions. You store them in your brain. You play them often enough that you know that material. And then when you're on the gig, in fact, there was one band I did the very first time I played for them. I'd never met anyone else in the band. I had an Uncle Funk show before I went to this gig. It was only because they were locally close to each other that I could do it. Never met any of them. And the singer was kept walking backwards to me and go, James Brown, get up off of that thing. And then he'd move forward and do that and then come back and go, Jackson's, Shake Your Body. And I'm like, Christ, these are songs I haven't played in years, but thankfully I know them. And that's, if you know the songs well enough, you can at least do a reasonable version of it. But now it's just become de facto standard that you just have it all in front of you on charts on a pad, and that's the way it's going to be. It's like when you got the singer backing into you going, we're going to do this, we're going to do, you haven't got time to go swiping through 3,000 songs that might be on your pad or typing in the search bar, get up off of that thing. You're still playing. You can't just, and as a bass player, we never get a break. Very rare in a song there's a drop out on the bass. You're still playing all the time. But anyway, sorry, I digress. There we are. Beat after beat. Hello. I'm trying to think who that is. Who is that? I don't know if I know you. Beat after beat. They seem to know you, Zuma.
Welcome.
Yes, that is
Beat after beat.
That is my friend Beat After Beat.
Hello, Beat After Beat. You're very welcome here on Brooks's Space Corner. This is live chat 123.
Hello,
You've not
Beat.
been here before. You're very welcome.
That's right. We're going to talk about lamb curry soon.
Hassan Iqbal, what is this? It's a strip show, can't you tell? Idiot. Sorry. Well, I mean,
Okay, so shall we go?
Exactly. Yeah, I know where that's been, thanks.
That's
Hassan,
right.
this is a bass channel. I know you've probably come in off of a shorts feed, a vertical live stream feed. We're talking bass guitars, my friend. Bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects. We're all bass players. If you want to join in the conversation, feel free. If you're here for cooking, we're not doing that. That's next week. So, yeah.
I mean, he's going to become a YouTube celebrity in his own right, isn't he? Just for wandering into our live stream and going, what is this? Yeah, poor bugger. Anyway, Gareth Harrison, how are the gigs at the weekend? I'll tell you. Beat after beat, you've been subbed to me for a few years. Well, thank you very much. I've not seen you on the live chat before, I don't think, but we're on the 123rd live chat. So
what a coincidence.
Could be that you've popped in here at some point, but anyway, good to see you. Thank you.
By the way,
the gigs. Yes, go on.
I just had a message from someone we both know who says, pass on my regards to Mike and ask him why he hasn't fitted those bloody bridge screws yet.
Would that be Joe Goose?
Negative.
Because my workbench in the garage is covered in strings, 2 cork tuners, a bunch of other bits and bobs, and until I get in there with a feather duster to clear out the cobwebs and clear the workbench, I can't do any of that work. And there's tons of stuff that I need to move in order to get to the workbench. So basically, I need to have a day in there to clear it, and then to film 8 basses, of which the Jaydee bridge saddles will be one of those.
Well, my response to him was, don't worry, I'll take care of it in September.
Good luck with that.
That's me doing it, not you.
I bet you won't.
All right.
I did a John Taylor stream. Did I? I did an Andy Taylor stream when Andy was diagnosed with cancer. Is that the one you're referring to, maybe? Mark Palmer, evening, folks. Been listening in the background, of course. We're essential listening now. Whilst I've been invoicing. I'll be invoicing you soon. iPads for IEM, mix for sure. Anything else questionable? Thank you. Gareth Harrison, how were the gigs at the weekend? So I did Platinum ABBA at Epsom Downs Racecourse on Thursday. That was an interesting gig. So the day before we got actually 2 days before we got the itinerary, and it said, same as last year, be there for 2:30, sound check by 4, on stage at 8:30. All good. Got in the car, started driving, hit a little pocket of bad traffic on the M25, but that's to be expected. And got there at 2:45 to be told, oh, we've only got 1 hour of sound check and you've got 40 minutes left. So that was an interesting setup, rapidly quick. And yeah, mental, absolutely mental. And had to set up in a rush. Turns out the sound man was a guy I worked with about 20 years ago and hadn't seen him since, goodness me, 2009. Oh, yeah, 2009. But he was doing good and good to see him catch up. And then he was just sitting around for hours while all the racing and stuff was going on. We got changed, come down to the stage, probably 5 minutes before we were due on. And there was literally 6 people in front of the stage. I'm like, hang on, where are all the people that I've seen milling around for the past 3 hours? Where have they all gone? They were on the other side of the building where the racing was. So we go around the backstage to go on stage. I'm thinking this could really, this isn't quite the gig I remember last year when we had like 2,000 people there. We got 6 people. What the, how are we going to, and literally about a minute before they started playing our backing track that we go on to, the intro thing, 2,000 people come swarming from the other side of this racecourse building. It was like bees to a honeypot. I was like, oh my God. And we got on stage and it was 2,000 people and we had an absolute blast. Result.
That would be vexed Mike Honey.
Wow, it was a funny old thing, that was. And then, let me think, Saturday. Here we go. If Matt Caffell, if you're watching, thank you for coming, Matt. Matt bought tickets. Come see Uncle Funk at Cheltenham Sevens Festival in Cheltenham, funnily enough. And it was weird. It was weird. From the moment I arrived, I thought something's not right about this gig. So we turned up, and there's 9 of us. Yeah. 3 of whom go in one vehicle, so there's 6 or 7 vehicles. They wouldn't let us take our cars anywhere near the stage, anywhere near the backstage. It started raining, then it stopped, then it started, it stopped. And when we got backstage, having a walk through with all our guitars and everything else, there was loads of room. They could easily have accommodated all the vehicles. They were just being, pardon my language, shitty. And,
Strike one.
So then I sit down in the
castles.
Say again?
Kings and queens of their own little castle.
There was a lot of that. So I sit down in the gazebo-y sort of thing that we've got. And there's a couple, so band leaders there, sound man, drummer, me, female singer. Rest of them are all sort of making their way and getting. Band leader says, don't get anything out. Excuse me, what are you implying? He said, don't get anything out. I haven't been paid yet.
Ooh.
I said, you joking? He went, nope. He said, I'm still waiting. Every time I go out there to see the boss man, he keeps disappearing. I was like, okay, it's one of those, is it? I very rarely experience this. And these days, not running bands, I don't have to. It's not for me to deal with. I just turn up, play and get paid. And I was like, right, okay. He said, if they haven't paid us within like 90 minutes of us going on, we aren't going on. I was like, okay. Eventually, they came up with the money. They were just being silly buggers. But they then failed to feed us or give us anything to drink. Now, all of that.
Come on.
It's all provided. And we're like, really? And the guy kept making an excuse. Oh, well, no, it wasn't in the rider. It wasn't in. Yes, it was. It was all in the contract. The guy's got it on his phone. Look, there it all is. Banned to be fed and watered. I poked my head out of our gazebo-y thing. Look at the band next to us. They've got tons of food, tons of drink. It's like, what's going on here? What are you running? It's a joke. We go up on stage, start setting up, and it's weird. It just, the whole vibe was weird. It felt like they looked at us and it was like, what the hell is this? We're playing disco songs. It's just dance, party, have a good time. And people just standing there, I think very drunk, possibly very drugged up. And we were like their worst nightmare come true. But eventually, by about halfway through, people were enjoying it and getting into it. And then it was just break down and get the hell out of here. So that's what we did. That was my weekend.
Even if it's not in the contract, that's rule number 1. You gotta give the band drinks. I'm not saying it has to be beer, but it's, I mean, come on, something.
Coffee
Even water. At the very least,
something.
Literally, our trumpet player managed to grab a bottle of lemonade from somewhere. And then there was like 10 bottles of water up on the stage, backstage, when we got up there. But the rest of it was like, and in the end, it was like, do you know what? Forget it. We'll just go on, do our thing, and we'll go.
Forget it.
That's it.
Yeah.
It was one of those. Yeah, and occasionally you get that in a run of gigs. It is what it is. Beat After Beat says he wants your shirt. You'll have to pay him for it. It's $100.
Or mug him for it.
I don't even think you can see the best part about it.
I've seen that on your video.
Very good.
Thank you.
See, every week now I'm gonna have to bring out my best DD t-shirts. So I've got stuff going back to 85, 86. So.
Me too. Yeah,
I've got
I have
the
my
vintage stuff.
I have my a Wild Boy shirt, and it's like this big. I mean, I'm still a little dude, but I was a really little dude back then. Yeah, exactly.
Phil DeHov, Iran. Oh, I see what he's saying. He thinks your T-shirt says Iran, Iran. No, it's Duran. All right. Yes. Funky Hobbit. Big thank you to Mr. Zoom's contribution to accurate JT basslines. There you go. See, fan club's building. Save me weeks, learn the lines for our Duran tribute. Which Duran tribute are you in, Mark Palmer? You've kept that very quiet. I owe you
yes,
many
we'd
beers.
like to know. Inquiring
Yeah,
minds want
which
to
one
know.
are you playing in, Mark?
Inquiring minds.
Yeah, I want to know. See, the thing is, here in the UK, there are quite a few Duran tributes that have sprung up in like the last 10 years. But,
that makes sense.
And I often get asked, why aren't you in a Duran tribute? And of course, I'd love to do because they don't make any money. Maybe Mark's one is making some money.
Yeah.
But generally, for years, Duran tributes couldn't get off the ground because no one wanted to go and see them.
Wow.
People would go and see Beatles tributes, Rolling Stones tributes, Bon Jovi tributes, and Queen tributes. Those were kind of like the big four. Things 80s, Wham Duran were always big because they did half Wham and half Duran Duran. And of course, the name gives it away. George Michael tributes have done very well, but Duran Duran tributes have always struggled. And now you've got quite a few that mix up. They'll do Duran and Spandau Ballet, and that has become like a theatre thing. Warner Resorts, Rich, you know those Duran and Spandau things get into those.
Extremely well.
40 years old,
yeah.
I would hate to be the guy in the Duran tribute band who's playing keyboards because I think that is a tall order.
It's a lot of programming.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
A huge amount.
And the sounds you need to carry with you because tons of those sounds have to be there, or it won't sound like like the wolf without that.
Try replicating, Reflex. There's a lot going on there.
Oh, Reflex. That's one of the worst.
To program your tracks. Okay, you can go to karaoke version and download versions, but a lot of the musicians in the Duran tributes want to do it their way.
Yeah.
So, actually, talking of this, Zuma,
yes.
I have a question. You know, over here we have a series of exams by a company called Trinity.
Okay.
The Rio track is on the bass grade 6 at the moment, or is it 7? Either or, anyway.
Okay.
And their version, the actual main line, it feels as if it's got extra notes put in it.
Okay.
Because by, of course, ear, I actually think it goes ba ba da da ba ba feel. Yeah.
I off the top of my, and it's been a minute since I've analyzed it, but I think
Yeah.
it's gone. There is that first ghost note right at the top octave of the don't, and I think it goes da da da. That's kind of the way I feel it. I'm not saying that's it. So, but
because of course by ear the actual sort of record, the playing sounds very slightly easier, sort of not as complex.
I think that begs for a study of the isolated bass, which is out there because of when like the Rock Band type of soft games came out. All those sort of OGG, was it the OGG files came out, and you could but I would say that it's not entirely consistent either. Like it's not like it's that way every single time. Like sometimes I hear it and there's a ghost note on every single note, like don't da 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 da, so it's I think it's a bit inconsistent. But just out of curiosity, is that out of a scale of 10?
It's grades 1 to 8.
Oh, 1 through 8. Yeah. Probably part of it being up like that is just the stamina required, because it is. I mean, it's not like it's 140 BPM or anything like that. It's probably closer to 120, but just doing that for so long.
Very slightly quicker, actually.
A little bit more than 120, right? Yeah. But it's just I just remember that was actually the first video I ever uploaded to YouTube back in 2006, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember just like, wow, that it's. Getting through the end of the song is a bit of a challenge, without losing steam.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's fun to play, but
you know what, Zuma, you just made me think of something, because I was going to see if I could pull them out.
Curry, that's what.
No, not curry. Not this time. Maybe next time.
Are you hungry? I'm hungry too.
Well, I actually have a stash of. I was going to see if I could pull them off the wall here, but I have a stash of import 12-inch Duran singles that I don't see very often. And if I can, I'll have to look into this, and you may have to send me a message, but if I can find it, I have the sheet music for Rio.
Oh, you do?
If I can find, I've got a stash in the storage. I'll have to look. If I can find it, drop me a line. Well, if I can find it, drop me a line and I will mail it to you.
Okay. I'm going to chat you in the chat, so I have your info.
Yeah, go for it.
That would be great. I'd love to see it. I actually have this Arena, so the 1984 Arena live album. They had a tour, like a book, and it actually has like
big book
part, but it has like the piano part, the bass part, kind of the guitar parts outlined.
Sorry, I've actually got the sheet music books for about the first 4 Duran albums.
Brilliant.
Mike's got the same ones. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, because I picked up stashes of things. That's why I have the Black Sabbath. I still have. You're gonna laugh. I have Accept Metal Heart, the songbook, metal, and then I have Rush Complete, which is about that thick, which I've had for decades. I've had them for decades. I mean, these are the things I learned off of while I was kind of doing this and then doing this and going, oh, we can do it this way. So
I actually hear it as sort of whoops.
Oh no, I hear notes.
Yeah. Whereas the actual book goes sort of
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because I would put the second note as not having a ghost note, but the third one as so don't did it. That's kind of what I.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that sounds great too. I mean, like what I always say in my videos is, there might be a supposed correct way to do the part, or paying tribute to the original can be important, but first and foremost, just if it's got to feel good. So whether you're doing it for your own pleasure, or it's a hobby for you, or maybe you're in a cover band and you need to know how to do it, I'd rather you do it the way it flows and feels better than the exact album way, and it feels
Yes.
kind of awkward, you know.
The one
Yes.
thing
Right?
to bear in mind with all of his bass parts, you have to have a drummer that's going to play it correctly.
Yes.
Right.
Because if you've got a
And that
drummer
never
in there, Phil
happens.
DeHove, I'll use that saying again, Phil DeHove, lumpy gravy. If you've got a drummer that doesn't play the parts like they're written, doesn't matter how well syncopated you are as a bass player,
Yeah.
those bass parts will suddenly sound absolutely horrible if the drummer isn't playing them right. So it needs both of you. You know, if you were in a Duran tribute, rehearsal is everything. Because you've got, and
You
very,
have to, yeah.
it's that same old thing with tribute bands. A lot of tribute bands are made out of people either who were friends first and then they formed a band, or they all love the band. Doesn't mean they're good musicians. And you end up sometimes with tribute bands made out of people. They love the band dearly, but they just can't play. And it's true. It's true. Covers bands are different.
Very
because
true.
covers bands,
Give me a moment.
if you're not a very good covers band, the venues will tell you, we think you're crap. Go away, rehearse, tighten up your band, and come back to us in 6 months when you're better. Tribute bands, that doesn't happen. It has to be within the band. Someone says, you're not pulling your weight, you're not doing that bit right. That's got to be tightened up. We've got to make this sound like the band we're doing a tribute to. That's the deal.
Right.
You know, no one's going to pay £30 a ticket to come see you in a theatre, and you can't play the songs like the way they know those songs go. If the Queen tributes I play with, if we didn't sound like the Queen tribute, you'd have people saying, "I want my money back." It's not. That's not the way the songs go. There you go.
Awesome.
Wait a minute. Let me show you these while you're talking. Keep going, Mike.
But yes, so certainly with Rio, but a lot of the stuff from the first album, second album, third album, once you get to Notorious, it changes. But you need, you know, the drummers have to play the parts.
Yeah.
You know, it's indicative to those bass lines. If it's like doing a Wham tribute. If people don't play, I've got all of this in a record case upstairs. These are the European versions.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, the imports for us.
To you, they're imports. To
Yeah,
us,
yes.
with the regular. Yeah.
To me, they're
See, to
imports. But
us-
the crazy thing,
To us, the important ones are the Japanese imports.
right? Well, we can sometimes get those here, but this one,
Stacy had them all, and her mum threw them all out.
What?
this one,
It's a long story.
long story.
Long story. But yeah, so that's you know, what we're saying here about syncopation and bass lines being correct. Absolutely. But they only work in the context that if the drummer's playing those parts right as well.
Very true.
There's a ton of messages here. Let me rattle through these. John Cooper, good to see you. Jamie,
Nice.
good evening, Mike, Jamie, and all. Hope you're well. Just popping in for half an hour to say hi. I played a support gig last year, and the band had a single bottle of Co-op Prosecco between us. You mean you got a full bottle? Normally, it'd just be the half. Is that a copy of Carnival?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep,
Yes.
that's
That's the gem in your collection. Put that in a very heavy-duty protective sleeve and put it away. That's
Yep.
worth money. That the European ones don't. That's not so important. That's valuable. So put that away.
Yep. Got that
Funky
one.
Hobby. Mark Rio. The Duran Duran Experience is his Duran Duran tribute. Fabulous. Well done.
Just
Andy
for you, Gemma.
Stratford. I don't remember you coming on here
Yeah.
saying hello, but I know of you, and I'm sure you probably know a bit of me. You're late to the game. You do a hospital radio show on a Tuesday night. Can I ask? Sorry if it's been cleared up already. Well, I got some cream from the doctor and I rubbed it on. It cleared up lovely. Yeah. How did the Oxford gig go? I will tell
Well.
you. Also, you've got a rather special Jaydee on order, hopefully next year. Well, Jamie will be all ears about that.
Jamie
So
knows
the
about all of
Oxford-
that.
Yes. Ooh, divine intervention. The Oxford gig was an interesting episode. I did go into it on the Tuesday night live chat directly after that. The parking was a complete shambles. They could have told us that there was single yellow line parking directly outside the loading point. No one even mentioned it. On the night, it was like 35 degrees, roasting. I parked up in the car park in the Market Square in Oxford. And because the people that booked us couldn't be bothered to help in terms of giving us the information, I decided they didn't deserve for me to have amplification. So I took basses, costume, pedal board. That was it. I didn't take any amp or cab. And as it turned out, I didn't need it. The PA and the monitoring was so superb. I didn't need backline, so it didn't matter. Got
Nice.
there, did the gig, walked back to my car. It was like still 30 odd degrees at 3 o'clock in the morning. And that was that.
I found some more.
So there's, and actually the show was fabulous. The show, yes, see, exactly. Put those away.
I got a bunch of them. I've got a bunch of them.
So have I. Mine are in a case upstairs.
I'm
Well, see,
impressed, Jamie.
Can't
This
take
one's
him
ju-
anyway, can you?
In fact,
Yeah,
I've
no, you
still
can't run
got
me anywhere.
I've still got all the 80s calendars. So I've got the 82, 83, 84, up until about 88. I've got all the calendars
about that?
upstairs as well. Zachary Nathanson, good to see you. I don't think
That was
you've
for
been
you,
here on the
Zuma.
channel before, but you're very welcome. My introduction to Black Sabbath was the 81 adult animated movie Heavy Metal. Jamie was probably in that.
I
Dio
Probably
was
so.
first. Ozzy was second. I did it in reverse order in 96. That was when I first heard Sabbath. Cool.
There you go.
Mark, you get about 300 each a show. Very good, sir. Well done. Well done, Marky P. Beat
Yeah.
after beat, Duran Duran is very popular. The tributes have gained popularity here in the UK over the past 10 years, maybe. But they still don't do gig after gig after gig like the other tributes. Look, since Queen Bohemian Rhapsody came out, the whole Queen tribute thing here in the UK is off the chart. The Duran Duran tributes can't even begin to get that level of work because people just won't pay good money to go and see it. It breaks my heart, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
People want to see Duran Duran. It's a bit like Level 42 tributes. People want to see Mark King do it. They don't want to see tributes to it.
So, how are we filling Warners and theatres then with the Everly
Because
Brothers,
that's a ready-made... no, that's a different thing. That's a different thing.
Joey Lee Lewis, and
No,
Buddy Holly?
I'm not talking about tributes. I'm not talking about tributes generally. I'm saying
right, okay.
Duran Duran tributes struggle.
Oh, right.
If you put
I
on
see.
a Duran
Sorry
Duran
about that.
tribute in a public venue and sell tickets at £20,
Yeah,
they don't do great.
yeah,
But in
isn't
Warners, it's a captive audience because those
Yeah.
people are already there. It's like going to a Butlins. You could say, oh, well, we had 3,000 here at Butlins, but we can't sell 50 tickets at the venue in New Cross. Well, no, because Butlins, your audience is already there. They haven't had to pay anything to go and see you.
Yeah.
If you give people entertainment and don't charge for it, they'll watch it. If you ask people to put their hand in their pocket to go and see it, unless they really want to go and see it, they won't.
That's true.
So when you're doing the Warners or the things you do with the Everlys,
yeah.
the audience at Warners are predominantly 50-year-olds plus.
Huh.
That's the
Plus,
audience for Everlys. Yeah.
Quite often, we are the only people in the building with our own teeth and hips.
Yeah.
So,
How about that?
That's it.
yeah.
And someone
true.
posted up a picture on Facebook the other day. There was a load of motorized scooters empty down
Yeah.
the corridor, and they said, "Oh, we're playing at a Warner's venue tonight." But there we are. I digress.
It is true.
Andy Stratford says hello to Jane.
Hello,
Jane.
Andy.
All right, Jane. Jane, pink bass man.
That's
Jane.
right.
That's it.
Hey, you know,
Lovely.
if Andy, if you're on, man, you got to come to Nick's get together in September with us because I just see Mark Palmer's going to be there, Mike and I are going to be there, and I shall have a Jaydee in hand. Rich is going to be there. Yep, good lad.
I may even bring a status or two. You never know.
Series 2, I hope. Hey.
Expect nothing less, Richard.
That's right.
Beat after beat, great show.
Maybe an
Thank you very
S2 Classic
much.
and a King bass.
There you go.
Have a go.
Gareth Harrison, there's a few unusual tributes I've seen. A Rage Against the Machine tributes, they do very well. Fronted by a Nick Cage impersonator called Nick Cage Against the Machine. Different. Well, there used to be...
Creative.
let me think.
He's going to do National Treasure to Rage Against
No, there
the
was
Machine.
a Led Zeppelin tribute, Dread Zeppelin, which were the reggae version playing...
Oh, yes.
But there was also a similar thing. There's a story behind this. So there was a postman from Ireland called Jimmy... I can't remember his name. He did an album called Gravelands. And it was covers of songs by artists who had died. And he had a shit-hot band. and he would do those songs but singing them in an Elvis style.
Ding.
So Paul Guerin, who I mentioned earlier, was the guitarist in it. Lee Pomeroy from ELO, Take That, Rick Wakeman's band, yes, all of that. He was the bass player on it. I was meant to be the bass player that did the live dates. So they did things like Smells Like Teen Spirit, because Kurt Cobain had died, sung by an Elvis impersonator. Played like an Elvis song.
Wow.
In fact, I'm wondering, where's the CD? Is it in there?
I'm trying to hear what that would sound like in my
There
head.
was like there was a Thin Lizzy
Well, it's a
song.
very weird
There
mix.
were a John Lennon song, Jimi Hendrix, just loads of it. Anyway, they booked up a tour. I was prepped to go into rehearsals, and I left the glam rock tribute band and joined Cover Story. I went off to Bahrain for 10 weeks. I turn on the telly in Bahrain. They had feed from the UK, loads of Brits. Do you remember the Chris Evans program? Don't forget your toothbrush. TFI Friday.
Yeah, very well.
They were playing on that,
Right.
and there's a bass player, and I'm like, that's my gig, and they're all doing it, and I'm like, hold on. And when I came back, I said to Paul, what the hell happened there? He said, oh, you were away, so we had to get someone else in. Now the gig's his. They supported Metallica around Europe at the tail end of 1998 and summer season of 99. I was gutted. Absolutely gutted.
Man.
Your language was really bad then. He would have been striking everywhere with the language.
Oh, I was not happy. It was like, you told me that was my gig. Oh, well, you weren't here. Email? Do you want to send an email? Just ask me when I'm back. Anyway, there we are. Not to worry, hey. Mark, that being said, gigs are dipping off in favour of booking 90s, Oasis and similar acts. You are now experiencing what I went through with the glam rock tribute in the 90s, which is people book things and... what's the word? When you
Nostalgia.
Nostalgic.
Nostalgia
Yes.
acts.
Well played, Rich.
Regarding stuff like 20 years before, they have a very small window of opportunity, and
That's
that
right,
ball
yeah.
constantly rolls. So to me, I feel like 90s stuff is like from 10 years ago. It's not. It's 30 years ago.
It's weird,
And
isn't
you're
it? I know.
experiencing what we had with the glam rock tribute.
Yeah.
Oh God, there's loads of messages. Right, I'll rattle through these a bit quicker. Yeah, got that. Gareth Harrison, Nirvana tribute fronted by Elvis called Elvana. They're kind of, yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Smells like Teen Spirit, baby. Thank you.
Funky Hobbit, I have some other stuff I'm involved with. We should have a chat, Mr. Palmer. I'll speak to you later. Reportage coming out soon. It is.
Oh, yeah.
It is. Jerry Blair, is it true Ozzy's gone? Yes, sadly so. Hope you're well, Jerry Blair. Hope you're good. Beat after beat, let's keep Andy always in our prayers. Always. Quite right. Mark, by the way, I have accommodation for Nick's memorial gig. Hope to meet up with fellow Brooks's bass brothers. Hey, that should be.
Guess what?
There you go.
Guess what?
Someone can set
You'll
that
all
up on
be there.
Facebook. Yeah, exactly. There's Jane. I'll be there. Jaydee in hand.
Of course.
Love Jane. She's lovely. She is. Excellent, Jamie, bringing your alembic. I look forward to seeing that, Mark. Our drummer is on point. Very good. C prediction. LOL. Ozzy. Imagine dying. Come on, don't be harsh. Right, we'll gloss over you.
Right. See you later.
Funky Hobbits,
Yeah,
such
bye.
a pleasure to play with, not thinking the parts are live. He's just on it. Very good. Beat after beat, that's from Holland. Our drummer, I got the gist there, Mark. All good. Carnival, yep. Andy Stratford, thanks, Mike. Love Duran Duran. Big fan, John Taylor. Good taste there, sir. Ings Dings, rest in peace, Ozzy. Quite. Sorry, I'm going through all these messages. I'm not starring them. Andy Stratford, my passion is level 42. I know. I've seen your bases being built at GB. I play bass in my local church. I can't gig anymore, but I was in a band, but my health issues stopped me. I just go through the PA at church. That's all good. Whatever makes you happy. Simon Le Bon is worth over 70 million. I used to live around the corner from Simon Le Bon in Putney, and I didn't know he lived there. Oh. And the girlfriend of the guitar player and agent for the glam rock band, we were driving through Putney on the way back from a gig, and she went, "Oh, Simon Le Bon lives there." I said, "Where?" She said, "That house there with the pillars and the yellow door." I said, how do you know that? She said, I used to go to Roehampton Institute up the road. We used to bump into him in the pub in Putney. Oh, okay. Andy, for sure, give me details. I guess we're talking about Nick's thing there. Mark Palmer,
Yes.
ladies of a certain age will spend £30 for a 2-course dinner and a Durand tribute. Yeah, they will. It has been working for us. Good. But times are changing. So next project is a female 3-vocal soul funk show. There we go. Got to keep moving. Keep the ideas coming. Andy Stratford, I have 2 State-Eye Series 2s and a King bass, both black beauties. Or as my old mate Steve Overland used to say, black booty. Black booty. I said, I'm sure you have. Funky Hobbit talking to Jane and the Guts. Let's hook up for a curry. Of course they will. Yeah.
Sorry, he said guys. Yeah.
Guys, not guts. Yeah, guts. That'll be on about the Saturday. Don't worry about that. Curry and Brum. Yeah. Gareth Harrison. There are some videos floating around of Elvana playing Download Festival a few years back. Okay. Stacey having a laugh. Wow. Curry anytime. There we go. We're up to date, and it is 10 to 10. Very good.
Right.
Well done, gang.
Right. So we've got Elvis singing Nirvana and Curry on the same sentence.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Right, Rich.
Lovely.
Vulfpeck. Off you go.
Yeah.
What?
Look at the face on it. You said you wanted to last week's live chat. You said to me towards the end, "Can we have a live chat where we talk about Vulfpeck?" And I said, "Yeah."
Oh,
you sent me an email earlier saying, "I've done some prep on Vulfpeck."
I have been researching them. Yes.
There you go.
Very interesting, actually.
Speak forth in ringing tones, young man.
First, one needs one's notes. Carry on for a minute.
I've heard that. Is it on an iPad?
iPhone.
Okay.
Close enough. Something.
It is indeed, yes.
I can fill it
Didn't
in
you
for
hate that
just a
about
little bit.
10,
Actually,
12 years
can I
ago?
just ask the sort of USA brethren here,
Yes.
Right.
how do you see Vulfpeck? Because I see it as a sort of a ambient sort of US sort of, nicey tunes and a bit funky.
Go ahead, Jim.
I see it. I see that band kind of, and I feel like I might have said this last week, but I see it as a kind of a group that I like, and I appreciate their musicianship. And if a video comes up on my feed, I'll click on it, I'll listen, I'll be impressed. And I do think they're extremely funky in every single player, and as a whole, they're great.
Yeah.
But I just, I'm very song based, so I don't hear the songs there. I mean, obviously there are no vocals, but that's not always a deal breaker. But it's like I listen to it, I think it's great, they're amazing, but I don't go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about.
So, what do you think in general terms about Mr. Joe Dart?
I think he's an amazing bass player. I mean, he's got that.
Yeah, he's good. He's tidy, isn't he?
He's got that funky Jacko super ghost note thing happening for
Yeah,
one.
Yeah.
So his groove is really hard, but I mean, the drummer's amazing too. So as collectively, they really pull it together. They're a good combo. They're a good group. They're a good band. But yeah, I just I don't find it memorable though. But it's not a ding on them. It's just a ding on that style, I guess. It falls into a more like fusion-y kind of a thing where. Whereas I will go back and listen to Weather Report and Jacko because I hear the melodies. I guess
we all do. Yeah,
that's the melody. Yeah. I don't hear a lot of melody or memorable melodies in the stuff I've heard. Yeah. Maybe I haven't heard every song. I certainly haven't. I haven't heard every song off every album that Vulfpeck puts out. And maybe I'm being unfair because maybe they have some songs where there are incredibly memorable melodies, but I just haven't heard them yet.
Okay, and Jamie, your thoughts on? Sorry,
Jane. I have either way. I have I'm going Jay dial it in. Yeah. I have a different kind of. This is going to sound weird, and I don't know how to exactly explain this connection. Okay. Right. I can listen to it, and kind of what Zuma said. It doesn't stick with me, but for whatever reason. I pull that off, and this is going to sound totally bonkers, but
No,
if
I can't.
oh
believe
no,
that.
not
Surely
that.
not.
No,
You
but
must be joking.
so right, but when I hear that, it makes me want to stop it and listen to Oingo Boingo.
Right.
Mm.
So
Because-
I
Now we're
see
talking.
it as sort of USA atmospheric music. It reminds you of, boulevards and ice cream parlors and
I mean, the ice cream parlors that I went into played Black Sabbath, so I can't really speak to that one.
those are
But-
cool ice cream parlors.
I'm just
The
saying.
ice cream parlors Jamie used to go in. You were lucky if you.
Let's go. Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
I'll have
It was,
vanilla.
it was soft scoop. It was like B Jam soft scoop.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, but that's the
Yeah.
thing is, I mean,
Rock.
right. To answer your question, though, I mean, I understand kind of atmospheric funk, and I mean, because again, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to mention one other, atmosphere, FEAR.
All right.
I'm
Yeah.
going to go there with Lester before I'm going to go to Vulfpeck.
Okay.
Because it speaks to me differently. But seriously, Vulfpeck to me somehow associates with Oingo Boingo, and I switch gears immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, because I would rather hear Danny Elfman doing Dead Man's Party. Beat after beat just said Dead Man's Party. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the fact that was all keyboard based was even crazier because what was his name? Jose Avila. What's that his name? I gotta remember.
That's him. Avila, yeah.
Theo
Yeah.
Katzman.
He was doing that, and then he'd come out and do all the rest of it. But I mean, there's just something to that. Vulfpeck, to me, to your point, Z, it doesn't stick.
Yeah.
It doesn't stick. If I put it on in the background, I can get through the conversation. I heard two notes and nothing else.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
See, I see them as a slightly less technical fleck tones.
Okay.
Tones, huh?
That's interesting because Bella Fleck lives here.
Similar feeling, apart from no banjo.
I think Victor has a deeper pocket for sure.
Very, very slightly, yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Very slightly.
and if you're going to get into the technique and all that, which we don't have to go down, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would go Bella before I do that.
Up here,
That's true.
Dart, several leagues down. Dart's agile, but he's more sort of simple ideas.
And sometimes simple is best,
Plays
but
everything and develops and all of it basically. And linked to the subject, what do you think of Corey Wong's rubber right wrist?
Mark just mentioned that on the chat.
Did he? All right.
Hang on.
Hassan Iqbal, what is this? It's a strip show, can't you tell? Idiot. Sorry. Well, I mean,
Okay,
I don't
so
want to be rude.
shall we go?
Exactly. Yeah, I know where that's been, thanks.
That's
Hassan,
right.
this is a bass channel. I know you've probably come in off of a shorts feed, a vertical live stream feed. We're talking bass guitars, my friend. Bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects. We're all bass players. If you want to join in the conversation, feel free. If you're here for cooking, we're not doing that. That's next week. So, yeah.
Corey Wong's rubber wrist. What are you talking about? What is that?
Corey-
What is this? Who are these
Okay.
people? What?
Okay.
Hey?
Corey Wong leads a big band. He plays
Yeah.
mainly
My
rhythm.
cousin used to rent a room from his parents.
Used to tell actually the other week, yes.
That was
And-
yesterday.
Corey Wong,
That's wrong.
right or Wong?
Corey Wong's
Exactly.
rubber wist.
Chinese takeaway. Here we go.
You've got-
Okay.
yeah.
Strike two.
You've got the Japanese, Kenny
Yeah.
Roggins.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Footloose fame. I've got a little story actually before we go
Yeah.
any further. So Kenny Roggins is in Japan. He's playing Tokyo. He's doing Tokyo Dome. Height of his fame. Nathan East's in the band. All the top session men. They go out to dinner after this very triumphant show at the Budokan, and they're having this lovely meal. It's like all the record company execs, the whole caboodle. You know, Footloose is number one. Footloose soundtrack is number one. Kenny Loggins' back catalogue, like filling the charts in Japan. Fender Japan come down this presentation case in this lovely glass thing, and they've made like a diamond encrusted Stratocaster,
Right.
and on the headstock it says presented to Kenny Roggins
Oh,
Oh boy.
Oh,
in diamonds. Kenny Roggins.
painful.
So anyway, I digress. Carry on with your story of Cory Wong's wonky rubber wrist thing.
I actually just think it's awesome.
Right?
I think I need an explanation.
He's an extremely fast rhythm player, so sort of detailed and things and quick that nobody needs to play, lead anymore.
Ah, got it. Okay.
Yeah, he's actually good, actually. I like it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was probably so fascinated with Joe Dart that I need to pay more attention to the right wrist.
Just him.
of Cory
Yeah.
Wong.
Yeah. Yeah. In actual fact, there was a concert on YouTube where the Cory Wong band had was it Wooten actually playing for them?
It's possible, yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Like subbing for Dart.
No, the
Oh, this is Corey's
player-
band. I got it. Okay.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
different one.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah. There you go. I was just, curious.
Very
Sure.
good.
Hey,
All right,
doesn't
I'm
hurt
gonna
to ask the
you-
question.
I'm going to ask
That's all.
you to pick out definitive tracks and albums in a minute. So 2 seconds. So I need to do
Easy.
a shout out 'cause it's 10 o'clock. It's live
Yeah.
chat 123 here on Brooks's Bass Corner, coming to you live from London town here in the UK. Hope you're well. It's a bass channel. We're not doing cooking. Cooking's next week. All right.
Right.
Hassan Iqbal, don't come on here and ask me what this is. You're going to get your own celebrity section of the internet. I know it's coming. It's just a matter of time. If you're watching the video, the first time you've popped on the Brooks's Bass Corner, you're very welcome. You're amongst friends. We're talking bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, great bass players, albums with great bass players on, bass accessories. Please give this live stream a thumbs up if you'd be so kind. It's the most important thing you can do for any video here on YouTube. Thumbs up, very important. It helps me, helps the video. Within the algorithm, it suddenly goes, oh, people are enjoying this. They push the video out to more and more bass players. We get more people come in, more knowledge, more advice. Fantastic people.
More curry.
Thumbs up.
Yep.
No. Thumbs up, please. Feel free to share the video or any video here on the channel out to social media, email, websites. Please leave comments, not just in the live chat window, but in the comments section. So if you're watching this video after the event, you might be. I know of some bass players that listen to the live chat at the weekend when they're driving home from gigs, use it as a podcast. Thank you very much to those individuals, very much appreciated. But the conversation obviously stops when we stop being live, but you can keep the discussion going on in the comments section below. So leave comments, very much appreciated. At the bottom of the live chat window, we've got super chat. So if you want to help make a donation to the channel, which pays for everything, the StreamYard subscription, the vidIQ subscription, the lights, the cables, the mics, the amps, the effects, amplifiers, the whole caboodle, you can use the super chat facility, which is the dollar symbol in the rectangle next to the chat box in the live chat window. Alternatively, you've got super thanks, which exists is the dollar symbol in a love heart, where you've got the thumbs up, thumbs down, share arrow. You'll see a love heart with a dollar symbol in. That's super thanks. It exists on every single video here on the channel. And again, it just allows you to make a contribution to the channel if you wish to do so. But you don't have to. The videos are free. The channel's free to watch, of course. Anyway, carry on, sir. Best albums, notable tracks.
Notable tracks, easy. Dean Town, which is Joe Dart's homage to Teen Town,
Of course.
by, of course, Jacko. And there's a track on the same album, which is 2016's The Beautiful Game, which is all about the American baseball player Joe DiMaggio, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Joe DiMaggio, yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. and there's a really cool one about a nightclub as well, whose actual title at the moment eludes me. I shall check in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Mr. Palmer is saying Brooklyn Bop.
Brooklyn Bop is a Corey Wong tune, isn't it?
He threw that in
Yeah.
on the chat, so yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
I shall check,
I'll
because I've
quickly
got all
rattle
of
through
the albums on board, you see, so...
Mm.
Right.
I'll rattle through.
See,
the
that's how you do
messages
your
here.
research, SBL.
That's
See?
it. You see? Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh, get
So
you.
we send them. So we send them the discography while we're
Put
at
those
it.
claws away, Americans.
That's it. Stacey says Zuma, does their stuff seem kind of disposable? Sorry, Stacey, you've lost me. What do you mean?
I
She
think
might have responded.
Vulfpeck,
further
are they
down the
talking
chat.
about?
she
Yeah.
She
was.
might be.
I think she was referring to when I was saying that I don't remember a melody.
Ah, I
you know.
see. Yes, you've
Yeah.
replied
Oh,
to it in the chat.
absolutely
Got it.
brilliant. Yeah. Yeah.
John Cooper, I love
Definitely.
Wolfpack. Closer I got to them live was at the Corey Wong gig in Hammersmith last year. Just awesome. Vincent Garcia was on bass, outstanding. Saw him recently at the Jazz Cafe in Camden. Zuma responding to Stacey's message. You wouldn't go that far, but something like that. Okay, cool. Beat after beat, Dead Man's Party.
Boingo Boingo. That's Oingo Boingo.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
Lorenzo, do you know Pino Daniele, Italian artist and guitarist from Naples? No, I don't.
No.
I don't. Anyone else?
No.
Enlighten us. Tell us more. You
The
can't
actual
send links
tracks,
obviously on here.
tracks to actually look out for on the beautiful game, which I like anyway, are Deantown, of course. In actual fact, if you look at the video on YouTube of them doing Madison Square Gardens, is it?
Yep. New York, yep.
The audience are all singing everything Dart actually plays. Every note.
Don't drop a clanger.
It is absolutely
Right.
yeah. Okay,
Well, that's pretty awesome.
it is. Yeah,
Then that means there are memorable melodies.
there are a few. Yes,
Right. They're just not sung with a voice.
it was
Right.
Deantown. The really cool one is called the Conscious Club, track 4, and One
As
for
opposed
One.
to the Culture Club.
Maggio is good as well. So yeah, there you go.
Beat after beat
Check
says
'em
just
out.
another day rocks. Mark Palmer says Johannes Toner, awesome groove player with Corey Wong. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Wilfred Morris, welcome. I've not seen you here before. Ozzy is dead. But you're smiling. Not sure that's
Give
the
him the-
we're going for.
Give
but
him the
anyway,
clang.
Clang, clang, clang.
I don't think he's posted anything else, so
Okay.
if I see him another message and he's being a dick, then he'll be off. Lorenzo, very good. There's Jane. Beat after beat, Mick Karn and John Taylor are my favourite bass players of all time. Well,
Actually, intriguing question. There are
What is it?
actually 4 of us here. Who is everyone's number 1 favourite player ever?
Ooh.
Starting
John
with
Taylor
Mike.
for me.
Well, yeah. Okay, yeah.
You figured that one
Well,
right, right?
Go ahead,
okay.
Mike. Mike.
It's Taylor, 2 Johns. I can't split them. John Deacon and John Taylor. With
Okay,
a
good.
Bernard Edwards bringing up the rear.
Okay. I
Yeah.
beg your pardon, sir. And Jane?
Tradesman's always favourite entrance.
So I have to break it down by genre.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm listening to, well, let me say it like this. If I want to hear a Rickenbacker, I'm going to listen to Chris Squire, Geddy Lee, and John Entwistle.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
If I want to listen to a Precision, I'm going to listen to Geezer Butler. If I want to hear something thrashing, it'll be a cross between Steve Harris and Billy Sheehan. If I want to slap the tail off of it, it's going to be Mr. Mark King and a little Stanley Clark just for fun.
Yeah.
If I'm going fretless, it'll be Jacko and Percy Jones, right? And occasionally Tony Franklin if I feel the need for some Blue Murder.
Okay. Good idea.
So, I mean, I don't have just one. I mean, because I break it down by what style am I listening to.
Okay, yeah. Interesting, yeah. Okay.
How about you, Rich?
There is indeed only one. Victor Lamont Wooten.
All right.
He's pretty
boss.
badass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Very good. Very good.
Good stuff.
Mark Palmer, Mark Lettieri on lead guitar, Sublime. I'm guessing that's with Corey Wong, maybe. Mark saying more curry. Don't stir him up, Mark, for God's sake.
Woohoo! Let's go.
Actually,
He even asked.
while
even
we're talking
asked.
about curry, are you
curry,
talking about the curry in Birmingham on the same day as the trip to Peterborough?
I'm actually
Trip to
thinking
Peterborough's on the Sunday.
that's on the
Right.
Sunday. So on the Friday, myself and the Lord are going to go to Jaydee, Bass Brothers Bass Direct, and if we're going to Jaydee, we're in Brum. So guess what?
In that case, I will be meeting you in Birmingham because Birmingham's only 40 minutes away for me. So
Because
yeah.
I think between Toby and Mike Diggins, I believe we have a consortium for curry.
Very good.
Yes, indeed.
Have you sorted out your Saturday plans yet?
I'm working on it. I think we're going to go visit Martin Sims.
Ah,
Blimey.
the man in Kent.
The man in Kent,
That's
yes.
So are you coming? You're coming back with me to London then off on Friday.
So Master Stewart and I were speaking about this earlier, and we can do either or, because if you need to get back before us, we can hop the train and have a
Okay.
Bosch or whatever, whichever's easier. No worries.
We'll see what happens on the old
Yes.
calendar.
Yes.
Beat after beat, smack that thumbs up like a bass.
For the channel. Right
Good
after you
idea.
said the channel.
Exactly. Couldn't put
Right
it
after you
better
said the
myself.
channel.
Well
Oh
done.
yeah, of course. Yes, thumbs up.
Mark Palm's asking foul or jalfrezi.
Foul. Way spicier.
Exactly. Don't tempt him, Mark. It's like
He will see it in
human
person,
no worries.
volcano.
It's going to happen in person. No worries.
It's not a pretty sight. Vindaloo when blasting. Okay. What an image that conjures up, Mark. Lovely. Thank you for that. Glad I had my dinner
Boom.
a few hours ago. Off to my cot, brothers and sisters. Keep well. Peace. We'll see you soon, Mark. Take it easy.
Cheers, Mark. Yes.
Oklahoma Jim. Rest in peace, Ozzy. Quite.
Yes,
Jennifer,
indeed.
hello.
Hello.
Not seen you here on the channel before. You've probably either found me because of the title of the live stream or you've come in off the shorts feed, but we're talking bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, great bass players. So if you want to join the conversation, feel free.
Strings,
Andy
pink
Stratford
basses.
has to be Mark King. Okay. Gareth Harrison grew up on a
Good.
staple of Damon Minchella of Ocean Colour Scene and Mick Quinn of Supergrass. Well, you know I love Mick Quinn. So. Damon Minchella, yeah, but I always found his playing a bit just nonplussed me. Didn't really. People always said he was like this great bass player, and I never got it. It was always like, yes, he's doing what he needs to do, but it's not blowing my socks off. Mick Quinn was more impressive to me, Gaz, because of all the BVs. He anchored that band. You got the clown on drums, just hitting things like the dipstick son of Keith Moon. It's like, and he hasn't got any better. I thought, well, if they're coming back after lockdown, during lockdown, he might have done some practice, and I'm not convinced he has. But
You know where he got that from, right? Screaming Lord Such.
Of course.
Look that one up, folks.
John Entwistle, yeah, that's it. You're in it for the curry, if that's okay. Very good. Jane's taking the bookings for the curry. Speak
That's
to
it.
Jane. Rob Steen's just appeared. Good to see you, Rob. Evening, Donald Duck Dunn and Mark King. Polar opposites, but amazing players. You
Agreed.
got a mention, actually, in my remix shorts this week. I was going back through some of the older videos, and you got a mention. We were talking about... Oh, it was something to do with Mark King, I think. I can't remember. It was the day we were at the bass centre buying the basses, I think. That's what it was. But anyway, you got a mention, so there we are. Don't say invoices in the post, because they'll just get rejected. Let's just check where we are. That's all good. I think stream health is good. We've had a new subscriber.
Hello.
One new subscriber during this live stream, so thank you very much, whoever you
Lovely.
might be. Bless your heart. The poll, 78% have given the live stream a thumbs up. A poor, paltry 22% haven't bothered. It doesn't cost you anything. Just click the thumbs up. It's simple, very easy. I know. So actually, I experienced this myself earlier. So I was watching Phil DeHove's live stream, excellent channel. Phil plays bass, and I couldn't find where the thumbs up was. You have to scroll the live chat down. There's like a little tab in the center. You pull it down, and then you reveal the thumbs up, thumbs down, share, super thanks, and all that. It's so when you're on a live chat, you have to literally swipe the live chat window down, then you see the thumbs up and the thumbs down and all of that. So that's where the thumbs up are. So if you're watching this on your phone going, he keeps asking me to like the live chat, but I can't find, that's where it is. So just literally scroll. Let's scroll. Put your finger on the screen. That's it. Yeah, press it. Of course. Press it and swipe it downwards, and then the icons are revealed, and you give the thing a thumbs up, and then swipe up again, and the live chat window will reappear. That's how. Just
use your thumb for the whole thing, and it'll keep it going.
Even quite. Gaz, Damon Mincello is currently playing with Richard Ashcroft's band, the Oasis tour. It's funny, isn't it? All that lot. It's the same people from the same time, getting the same gigs. Funny that. There we are. Okay. Right. Well, we talked about it. Right. Zoomer, Arcadia.
Yes.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, so we're going to have a little chat, and it's going to be a bit Duran bass, a bit Power Station, a bit Arcadia. Anyone doesn't know what Arcadia was? It was a spin-off project. John Taylor and Andy Taylor have gone off to do Power Station. Duran reconvened to do A View to a Kill. We're talking 1985. It's 40 years ago. They reconvened to do A View to a Kill. Simon, Nick and Roger had already started work on their side projects. They didn't want to sit around twiddling their thumbs,
right? Which
was called Arcadia. The album came out in the autumn of 85, but it featured a whole host of session players. Dave Gilmour's on there on guitar, Carlos Alomar, Andy, remind me, Zuma, sax player, Andy Mackay, from Roxy Music, Phil Manzanera's on there, Grace Jones, Sting. Bass player is Mark Egan. Mark Egan is a noted jazz fretless player.
Padula man.
Lovely, exactly. And Zuma's been doing some lovely play-alongs with the tracks and going into those tracks on his channel.
Cool.
Arcadia was meant to have a tour. They meant to do a tour. I've got radio interviews from Radio 1 in the autumn of 85, and they were talking about doing a theatrical theatre tour rather than like an arena tour, because they felt the music lent itself to being played in theatres, not arenas. They were very right, and there was a lot of stuff they were going to do. It never happened. Literally, that project then rolled into 86. They released 2 more singles off it, which was The Promise and The Flame. Right. And then it stopped because the band Duran reconvened, 2 Taylors left, and then they produced Notorious. So that's kind of, and that project has never been resurrected. But if you like Japan, you like Mick Karn's bass playing, you like the edgier side of Duran that can be a bit gothic and a bit dark and a bit mysterious, as opposed to the bop pop band. Check this album out. There's the original release, which I think has got 10 tracks on, 9, 10. There was a re-released version, which is a double special edition, came out in 2010, which has got all the B-sides and the remixes and the alternative versions. Check that out if you can. It's outstanding. Literally everything that band released is on that double CD. You can find all this stuff on Spotify. There's various stuff here on YouTube. What would you like to say, Zuma?
Well, I would like to point out another person who was a part of that, which is, and it rarely gets talked about. It's a Japanese guitarist named Masami Tsuchiya. Last name is Tsuchiya, and he had his own stuff happening as well. And the reason I like to mention him is because it's unknown whether it was Mick Karn or Percy Jones playing fretless on his stuff, but the stuff on his album that's fretless is amazing too. I always go back and listen to that. It's kind of hard to find because I haven't found it like just on the regular music streaming sites. You just have to kind of find somebody who's uploaded it on YouTube and hope that it doesn't get taken down, because I think it was just released on vinyl. Anyway, so that's another player. But Yeah, I mean, gosh, I can remember. Okay, I need to take it back a little bit because there was a short of yours that came up on my feed, Mike, and it was when you were talking about "Hungry Like the Wolf" being what you heard and what inspired you.
How it
You
changed
know,
everything.
yeah, how it changed everything. And for me, that song was "Is There Something I Should Know?" And it was the live version off of Arena. I used to share a room with my brother, and even though he annoyed me at times because he was just incessantly just playing music all the time. That song came on, and I remember I was getting ready to go to what would have been the 7th or 8th grade, and I remember zeroing in on the bass line. I just heard it loud and clear. Don, 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 don. And I said, whatever that is, it's making me feel a certain way, and I want to do that.
Mhm.
I had been playing trumpet at the time, so music wasn't foreign to me in that sense, but that's pretty much what did it for me. But fast forward, maybe, I was in the 7th grade, and fast forward like maybe, I guess, halfway through 7th grade, I remember a girl at my school saying, "Hey, have you heard this?" And she actually made me a tape and said, "This is Arcadia. This is like what half of Duran is doing now." And I said, "Oh, I'm going to listen to it. Great, great." And I remember hearing Election Day, and
Uh-huh.
and then subsequently hearing the rest of the album and just thinking, "Whoa, like this, the
Election
bass."
Day
Cracking
kind of
track.
blew my mind.
Yeah,
When I heard it, I was
it was
like,
such a great song, right?
because that wouldn't have normally been the sort of material I would have gravitated towards, but there were sounds that Nick and the producers they work with, although I can't remember who was the producer on that.
On
Was it Alex
Arcadia?
Sadkin?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Alex Sadkin,
it
yeah.
was Alex. Well, there's the maestro at creating all these sort of atmospheric sounds that actually aren't part of the song, but they totally make up the fabric that holds that whole track, actually the whole album
Yeah.
together. And if you like, I should say, if you like Seven and the Ragged Tiger and you like Arcadia, you will love Robbie Neville's first album. So
Oh, really?
Robbie Neville was like a disciple
way.
of Alex Sadkin the following year. Do you
Ah.
know who Robbie Neville is?
I've heard of the name, but I wouldn't
He
have
did
ever
a
made the
track called
connection to
C'est la Vie.
C'est la vie,
Lovely.
for sure, yeah.
He had
C'est
another
la
track
vie.
called What's
Yeah.
It To You?
Yeah.
That first album, I was a huge fan of Robbie Neville. So Robbie Neville, C'est la Vie came out about
I'll
a
put
month
that on the
after
tab here.
Notorious. And I remember absolutely loving it. And it took me about 4 years to find a copy of that album. And I bought it on cassette. The bass
Yeah.
playing on that album, there's a couple of different
Really?
bass players. Some of it's programmed, but some of it is a player. It's amazing. I listen to that album probably once a week, whether it's at home or in the car
Wow.
or on my phone or whatever. The first album is immaculate. The second album is fabulous. He had a couple of big US hits off the second album. The third album's a bit, I think you've lost your way. But those first two albums are just superb. But the first one is the one that Alex Sadkin was on. And I think that may have been the last album he produced before he died.
Yeah, it's
Because
so
I
sad.
remember Duran Duran being on Going Live. No, Saturday Superstore, I think it was still there.
Uh-huh.
Or was it Going Live? Might have been Going Live. And they were like big fans of Robbie Neville, I think, because of the Alex Sadkin connection. And they were bigging it up. Oh, this guy's going to be huge. He's going to be huge. Oh. And now he's doing soundtrack work. So he's still
Wow.
out there doing stuff.
And
but yeah.
I mentioned this in my video, but speaking of Alex Sadkin, I love how all these things are connected because Alex was, I believe, in one of the bands that Jacko was in playing brass. I'm not sure which horn he played. So Alex knew Mark because Mark Egan was a student of Jacko. So I think, as the story goes, well, as Mark Egan himself tells the story, he was in the studio and he bumped into Alex, and Alex said, "Hey, Duran's looking for a bass player for their side project." And that's how it happened. So Mark said, "Yeah, sure, of course." And so, I mean, that, it goes from, Arcadia to Duran, and then you end up down here at, it all being tied back to Jacko, which is amazing, because Jacko was a big influence for me as well as I started, digging into bass and things started getting recommended to me. But yeah, that album is just, wow. I can still remember hearing it, and yeah, just like you were saying the other day. I mean, it really brings me back to listen to all those old Arcadia tracks, because I can remember just it being a time in my life where I was just really, truly just falling in love with music. It's a bit different when, you're this, post-pubescent boy, and you're discovering girls, and you're discovering, and all these other scary things are coming into your life, going into junior high, and and then getting up there on stage when you're a musician because, oh, it's the winter concert, and oh my God, so many things.
If you listen to So Red the Rose now, it still holds up as a really, really good album.
Definitely.
Just on its own. And the thing was, I remember at the time thinking, this sounds like Duran Duran grown up.
Yeah.
It was like they needed that album. That's like the link between Up to a View to a Kill, Arcadia, through to Notorious.
Yeah.
Power Station kind of doesn't, that's its own thing. But they needed to do that Arcadia album in order to make Notorious, although you could argue Notorious is the album it is because it's Nile Rodgers at the desk. Having said that, Steve Ferrone's drum sound on that album is outrageously amazing.
Yeah, he is badass.
Outrageously amazing. Possibly the best drum sound that band has ever had. And I know Rodgers always said, I can't play Steve Ferrone. I can't play Notorious like he plays it.
Yeah.
Because Ferrone's just off the chart anyway, as Nathan East has attested on many occasions, which is why Eric Clapton and Nathan East, in the interview I did with John Taylor 10 years ago, they were in Japan. Duran were in Japan. And it would have been the tail end of the 87 tour. I think they were doing some promo or something. And basically Nathan and Eric met John and said, we want Steve. Can we nick him?
Yeah, can we take him? You're right.
We're at the end of our tour and we're not doing anything now for another year. So yeah, and they never got him back, obviously, and that's why Sterling Campbell joined the band.
There's a really
come
funny.
Back to this.
Oh, okay.
Hold it. I'm going to come back to you in about 4 messages time. Bill Clements is here. Jane, say hello.
Hello, Bill.
There we go.
Here,
Albriano. Hi, fellas. Greetings from the great state of Texas. Brooksy, you don't know how hot. You don't know hot until you've experienced South Texas heat and humidity. Mate, I've been in 49 degrees in southern Israel. I know what hot is. Don't worry about that. So hot, my pants set on fire. Oh, no, sorry, that's James.
Your pants set on fire?
Yeah. Gareth Harrison, another bassist I grew up on, was Steve O.J. from the Manchester band The Dust Junkies. I remember Steve O.J. Hold on. Got a magazine here with him on the cover.
He said his pants were on fire. Isn't that something different?
That's what yours do.
Rich?
I think you're thinking of Curry James again.
Well, he didn't say trousers, so I'm assuming since he said pants.
Maybe he goes for curries in his pants.
No, behave yourselves, will you? There you go.
Our pants.
There you go.
Very good, yeah.
Steve
Very
O.J.
nice.
Oh, there you go. The old every issue
Trace
of that
adverts,
magazine
yeah,
had
that's right.
Trace advert
Trace.
on the back cover.
Mm-hmm.
They had it, and then Ashdown tried to we haven't done one of these for a while. So this is June '98, Bassist magazine. Are you ready? In fact, I'll take my glasses off because I can't read the small print. It's too small. Right, listen up. All those who think gear is ridiculously expensive, it is. So, in June '98, this is great. This. Right, hold on. Got to find the things we're looking for here. 62 jazz bass. Black with concentric controls. 600 quid.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then next to it, a jazz bass 63 Lake Placid Blues, sympathetic refinish. You're having a laugh. 2.5 grand. No chance, mate.
Right.
65 jazz
$8.
bass. Fiesta Red 1500.
Yeah.
A 67 jazz bass Sunburst, excellent condition, 1100 quid.
Yep.
Bargain.
One for Rich, Mustang bass guitar, offers over 250.
Ooh.
250. giving
Yeah.
them away.
Yeah, Fender Music Master bass, 78,
Oh, yeah.
3/4 scale, black body, rosewood fingerboard, all original plus gig bag, 325.
Mm.
Jeez.
Painful,
Yep.
isn't it? 1970 precision bass, black, maple fingerboard, superb sound and action, excellent condition, 450.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yes, please.
71
Yes.
Sunburst Precision, tortoiseshell scratch plate, chrome covers, hard case, 600 quid.
I'll have that.
Black Precision 76 EMG pickups, 550.
Mm.
It's mental.
So at the present, that 76 would be about £2,200.
Yeah.
Right about now, yeah.
Hofner's going for 1962 Hofner, 250 quid.
Lovely.
That one today.
Yeah. Here we go. Music Man Sabre bass, excellent 80s early bird 2-band EQ model, classic natural finish, 575.
Interesting.
Another Sabre bass, late 70s, first issue, Sunburst, maple neck, 795.
Those are good basses, though.
Yeah.
I had a few.
1970
great.
Stingray
I had
bass,
one.
natural finish, 2-band EQ, 680. Yeah. 77 Stingray, pre-Ernie Ball, 1050.
Mm.
Mental. Rickenbackers, Spectres, not particular. Right, so here we go. Status Energy, 4-string, as new with gig bag, 375.
Nowadays, 1,500 quid.
Yeah, to you, Governor. Series 2, 6-string bass. Cool, there can't be many of them.
No.
Rosewood facings, 875.
875. That's a total bargain because that nowadays would be about
Strap
£3,000.
yourselves in. Where's the pink number,
Come on.
Jamie? Where's the pink strap? Here she is. Look at that. Every home should have one, boys and girls.
Yours will. Yours shall.
Are you ready? Really,
Yeah.
it's going to make you cry. Wall, custom 4-string, Hudua facings, strap locks. Although why they felt the need to mention that in the ad, I don't know.
Close,
Wall molded case. Really, this should be the price just for the case. Are you ready?
Go on.
Listen up, world. 625.
Right.
Rather than
It cost you 20
000,
times.
yeah.
20 times to buy that now.
For now,
Oh
yes.
my goodness.
Yeah.
No question.
Mental. Warwick's on here going for 900 quid. Warwick Thumb 4-string bass, customized with 26 Sims LEDs for the Frankfurt Music Show. 1,050 quid. Yeah, nuts. Anyway, here we go. A little look back.
That reminds me of something, Mike.
What's that?
What? And you're the
I owe you a $5.
Or a tenner.
You're the perfect person to ask this because you've been in the publishing business and for a guitar mag, or several, I imagine. I imagine you wrote for others as well. But anyway, I have boxes upon boxes, not the entire collection, but a pretty good 80% collection of Bass Player magazine.
So do I.
Okay, so check this out. So I'm thinking, well, that I'm going to have to move this stuff along at some point. Maybe somebody will want it, maybe somebody won't. But I thought, wouldn't it be a cool idea to start another bass channel where, I have this rig all set up where I just thumb through the magazine and just sort of do a quick commentary. First of all, would people find that interesting? But more importantly, copyright-wise, and especially because they're now defunct, could they...
It's not defunct. It's
Well,
owned by Future Publishing.
okay.
It's just
Even
not in
worse.
print anymore.
Even worse, so to
awesome.
speak. But would
this-
they look at that video and say, hey, you can't be showing our magazine? Video blocked.
Knowing Future, yeah, they would. So the situation was, in 2018, Bass Player was owned by a company called New Bay Media.
Right.
and they got bought out. So New Bay Media had various other magazine titles from the US, and Future Publishing bought up New Bay Media and inherited all their titles.
Okay.
So then we were, I've got to try and put this very diplomatically. So basically we had 2 magazines and 2 sets of staff.
Okay.
And the editor for each magazine had to submit their costings and what it would cost to produce the magazine on a monthly basis. Clearly
Okay.
ours was cheaper than theirs, and if you remember the quality of the, I'm not saying the quality of the writing was bad, I'm saying the actual overall quality of Bass Player magazine was not great. I remember looking at a couple of issues in 2015, and it felt like a pamphlet. It wasn't a magazine anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
It was like a thin little magazine.
Oh, it
Now
got
it's
much
had like
thinner. You're absolutely right.
120
Anorexic.
pages
They call it
of-
anorexic.
Yeah, it's like it'd gone on a crash diet and failed.
Yep. Right.
And the editor and the writers, I've got to be really careful how I phrase this or I get hung out to dry. They weren't
Ding,
happy.
ding.
And rightfully so, they weren't happy because they could see that writing was on the wall. What
Yeah.
happened over time was the magazine had kind of gone downhill, but it was spending way beyond its means, and it had become basically a pamphlet of advertising with actually not a lot of writing in it.
Yeah.
And we won the argument. Our magazine cost less to produce, so they decided to keep both magazines, but it would Bass Player would become a mirror image of Bass Guitar magazine. In a slightly smaller dimensioned magazine,
Yeah.
because that's what works in America, whereas we have things like this. You
Yeah.
have one that's basically take an inch and a half off
Yeah.
each way, and that's what you guys like. So basically from 2018, Bass Player became an identical copy of our magazine.
Wow.
By hook or by crook, we managed to integrate as many of the staff that wanted to come along. I can tell you, because it's fair knowledge, a lot of them didn't want to come along, and they all kicked up a fuss when I read some of the emails. There are people I used to have a whole load of integrity and I had a lot of respect for, and certain people who are reviewing legends, and I read their emails. I thought Joel dealt with it extremely diplomatically. Had I been in his shoes, I probably would have taken a plane flight over there and given 1 or 2 of them a good punch up the backside, because it was
no.
really nasty. It was like, and I read it and it was like, what gives you the divine right? You are just a writer for the magazine.
Yeah.
This is trying, because I was very aware that had we lost the financial argument, we would have been in that
Yeah.
position.
Be the other
They
way
would have
around.
closed our jobs down, and you can't tell me the existing staff at BP, as it was at that time, would have taken any of us Brits on. Not a chance.
Yeah.
But they seem to have this divine right. But whoa, we know all this stuff. Yeah, our guys know our stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And there was this big hoo-ha about it. Anyway, cut a long story short. So that became the way it moved forward. Then a year and a quarter in, COVID happened. So then advertising budgets got cut to 30%, I think, of what they had been. Then it dropped lower and lower, and I got told by Joel, there's going to be no work for you until we come out of this. So basically, if you look at any of the magazines from April 2020 through till about April, May 21, most of the work is literally all Joel.
Wow.
And a lot of it, some of it is regurgitated from old editions of the mag, just rewritten, and because
Right.
there was no budget, but they somehow had to keep the magazine going. And then when we came out, I remember Joel saying to me very early on, he said, "We got a problem." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Cost of paper's gone up. It's like 5 times what it was." I said, "Right." I said,
Yeah.
"What do you want to do?" He said, "Well, we just keep going until we get told otherwise." I said, "Fine, let's go. Just, start writing again," and off we go.
Yeah.
So we did all of that, and then round about early summer 22, he just rang me up and said, "Stop writing this. I've got enough content, but the magazine in its published form will stop as of September 22.
Yep.
It's going to become a free rolling website. I said, oh, okay. So we're going online. Yep. And at that point, Joel was still going to be the editor. And we had some great ideas. I got asked if I wanted to do video reviews. And we were going to start doing video content. And there was going to be a website and the socials and all of this. And it sounded great. And I said, yep, count me in. I'm there.
Yeah.
And Joel was told who his boss was going to be. And I think he just thought, actually, and I know he said that the last couple of months it was becoming harder and harder to find new ways to project the magazine in terms of what's the cover feature going to, done it for 10 years. It's like trying to find new ways of reinventing the wheel.
Yeah.
And he just said, you know what, I'm burnt out. I'm not going to be the editor. And then nothing was said. I'd never got an email from the publisher. I never got an email from the new editor. Nothing. As far I don't know if any of the other writers did. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I got nothing. I never heard a peep out of anyone. And I took after a month and I found out who the editor was. I was like, okay, well, I won't be writing for him, and I've not been contacted about doing anything, so that's it. And that's it. I've heard nothing in 3 years. So
wow, it's
now
amazing.
it's a free-form rolling website under Music Radar, Tech Radar, and the socials, and that's what it is. So Future Publishing still own the copyright on all the old stuff as well. And you could ask them for permission. Knowing Future as I do, I don't think you're going to get it, and they would want your royalties. They would want your what you made on the channel. So I'd hang fire if I were you. Maybe
it would be
that up as a project to be returned to. Mothball it for now.
I'm willing to take a punt on it and do it as a service to the community, but I would just hate if it just got blocked,
If you got 3 copyright strikes, you lose your channel. So
that's exactly the. Yeah, we all know that's.
Wait and see, because at some point, one day, that title will get closed down, and then see what happens. And take it from there.
I actually have the box right here. I'm going to show you guys the first one. I'll be right back.
I had Dave Swift's entire bass player collection here at one point, because we were getting the covers so we could do the handover.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to do loads of scanning of various interviews and pictures.
Oh, yes.
It literally took up most of my office floor. It was huge. But it was 1990 to 2020,
Oh, that's a bunch,
30 years. It's a lot of magazines. It filled my boot of my car up.
I think this is in the correct order, but this is...
That's the first one.
Yeah.
That's the first one.
Here's an interesting fact. So when we said it was met yet, number 2. A lot of people don't know about that issue.
I've got that one.
That's a collector's item, that one. The first 2 are collector's items.
I've got them.
When we moved from BGM over to BP, it was alleged we were tying it in because it tied in with it being the 400th issue. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. There were about 338 issues, and then we just jumped to 400. Joel and I had a heated conversation after the event, about a year after, when I had Dave's issues here. I thought, these issue numbers don't tally up. That last issue is 338, or it was around 340. And then we just jumped to 400, and I said to Joel, how did that happen? And he sort of gave me some weak excuse, and I thought, you just pull him on here.
Yeah.
But there we are.
Gave him an excuse to put a number on so it would sell more.
I think it was convenience. I think it was just convenience to tie it all in, and it's a big celebration. But anyway, it would have annoyed collectors if people have actually gone through and gone, what happened to 60 issues? There weren't. Literally just went from one to the other.
There's going to be one person who did that. There's going to be one who
There's
did
going to
that.
be one. There might be a few, actually.
Right.
Stacey, Arcadia blends the Roxy music Japan love the band had for those influences. And other things. I think there's a level of... what was that band from Japan? Yellow Light Orchestra. Yellow.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yellow Light Orchestra. Yeah.
Not yellow.
Not yellow, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
They used to wear yellow boiler suits.
Yeah.
And all that key and craft work. There was some elements of that in there as well, but it was the bass playing that really caught my ear, I have to say, on that album. I remember listening to it rampantly when it came out, because I had it on cassette as well, and listening to it in the car all the time. I think I must have listened to it like almost a couple of times a week. And it used to be the album I was listening to going to school and coming home from school.
Yep.
And it was just like, wow, sounds on there. It's like, as a
The sounds,
13-year-old going, how do they do that? How does it, the joys of a Fairlight, you know, it's all that. Jason C, Ozzy, yes, rest in peace, Ozzy. Stacey, BGM was always a better looking mag than bass player. I should point out, Stacey used to be a graphic designer for a magazine, so she knows these things.
Oh,
It was always a better looking mag than bass player before the merger, always. Thank you very much. I don't know why I'm saying that. I just wrote the content. I didn't have any say in the look. Jane says BGM was better. Quite right. The numerics, Yellow Magic Orchestra, thank you, beat after beat. There we go. So there we go. So the whole Arcadia thing was opened my eyes musically to other things.
Definitely.
That's good.
Because kind of Japan was a bit grown up for a 10-year-old, 9 or 10-year-old to get their head around. And even now, I listen to some Japan CDs that my partner.
I didn't discover Japan till much later.
Yeah. I remember listening to a live album she's got, and it was like, what the hell is going on there? Well, Hassan Iqbal would have been perfect for that. What is this?
What is this?
Exactly that.
I found Japan when I first purchased the first wall. Which, by the way, was $8.99 back in the day.
Come on. Don't
There was
rub it in.
We had that chat about how you name the top wood that's spelled Wenge.
Wenge.
Wenge or Wenge, or however you want to say it. You know.
I like Wenge.
And Wenge works, but I mean,
I used to say wenge, and it's not
right. See, Rich and I went back on that one last time, so you know.
Yeah,
we did. Yes. Wenge, sir. It is wenge.
Wenge, yes. So yes, but that was so Japan first wall.
Oil on Canvas. That's exactly that album. Beat after beat. Well done. Well done. I should say we're broadcasting on Facebook and Instagram tonight, and I've just had a look on the Instagram thing. Loads of people who follow me and Brooks's Bass Corner have joined in and have been watching. So thank you, guys. We tried this on various times over the past year, and it's always been Instagram. It just didn't work with StreamYard. It said it did, and it didn't. Which seems to have worked tonight because loads of people have been watching. So if you're watching, thank you very much.
Lovely.
You can come over to the YouTube channel and you can get more involved if you wish. We're here chatting away. So if you are on Facebook or Instagram, it's more a case of you watch and there's not a lot of involvement. But if you come over here on the YouTube, you can actually come onto the screen. We can have another 4 people if anyone wants to join in. You just email me. There's a ticker running along the top of the screen. Email me at brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com. And as I say that, the ticker disappears. You email me, I send you an invite, you click on the invite, and you come to screen. And you can talk bass and talk about any of the things we're talking about. Bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, bass accessories, great bass players, great bass albums, anything else. We're not doing cooking. Jamie's pink strap's been putting it back in its box. And,
that's right.
Sunset Chaser, welcome. How weird is it that he just did a farewell? We're talking about Ozzy here.
Ozzy, yep.
Quite. It's very weird how he managed to, if he's been very seriously ill, how he's kept himself going to be able to do that show, because it's been announced for months.
Right.
Or maybe something has just happened in the time since and he went downhill very quick. It happens. I think you're right, Jamie. I think he did know it was close because he didn't. There's been a lot of conjecture, hasn't it? He didn't look right.
There was some little bit that was put out that it was him speaking, and he said, and it had kind of a thing behind it that had to do with that was modern going on in his life. And the first thing he came out of the gate saying was, "I know I'm going to die soon." And then he proceeded to explain some other things. So it was kind of like a moment. That's why I said that.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good.
Yes.
It is coming up to 10 to 11 here in London town. We can go for about another 40 minutes or so. I'm good for that.
Since Ozzy keeps coming up, I wanted to point something out, which is that even though I was a big, new wave head in my youth, I remember hearing what I later realized was Crazy Train. I remember hearing this rock song saying, "Wait, that guy's doing octaves." And they're not exactly octaves, but, to my untrained ear, I was listening to the beginning of Crazy and I said, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty cool. Of course, later I learned that was Geezer, and that's something he did, but I thought that was really cool. And, he wasn't just pumping eighth notes or whatever.
You're saying on Crazy Train was Bob Daisley.
Oh, was Bob Daisley?
Yes. Bob Daisley was on the first two records. Actually, Bob Daisley's on quite a number of them, but he was uncredited at a point because they had kind of a smackdown amidst them all. He talks about it in some interviews.
I learned something. It's Bob.
It's all good. Yeah, no, because I've been following Black Sabbath since I was 12. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's pretty cool bass line.
Gareth's just mentioned it's a shame to hear about JHS winding up here in the UK. Another one. It was in the John Hornby skews. He died last year, and it was in his will and his sort of last wishes that he wanted the company wound up. So they're not closing down because of finances not being good, although it is very challenging for companies like that at the moment. Right. It's the company's profitable, but it's what the family have to do. It was his last wishes to do it. Brands, including vintage, are now being sold off. Yeah, sadly. And Hiscock cases have been bought up by a company in Poland. So Hiscock cases are no more. So all those people who paid £167 for a moulded Hiscock's bass case didn't need to. There's going to be they're going to carry on making them.
And Jaydee.
Yeah, the Jaydee cases are Hiscock's. So yeah.
Well, Status are GB guitar. Most actually, you'd be surprised how many manufacturers use them. Right. There were a lot.
Well, they're one of the only ones for the Jaydee that the body on the Series 1 in us is 15 inches across the bottom from top to bottom if you're playing it. And there's very few cases that I can purchase that hold that size.
Well, it's like the Alembic thing as well.
It's like going to an Alembic thing. The only thing I could look at would be one of those bass vaults where I could put them in on the side. But most of the cases over here, the square cases, they do not fit.
Hiscox did one called an extended, it was called an EBS case, because I bought one to put my Alembic in, and they're okay.
Okay.
You can actually fit them in there.
Nice. Well, the ones that came with my two are pretty good size. And, they came to me this way, so of course I'm hanging on to them, but there's very little that I can pack these in that will actually fit the size of the body, like I said. So
yeah.
It's a shame because I've got one. The Empathy came in, got driven over at an airport. Actually, it had. I think I've said this before. It was the one that had the Sims English Rose that I took to the Middle East, and it got driven over. And I remember thinking, "Don't tell me he's driven over the heads."
Right.
The case did its job. It protected it, but it shattered. And I gaffer taped it up so none of the bits came off. And only recently, when the Hiscox thing came out, and I contacted him, said, "Look, is there any way to repair this? Can you remold the end?" They went, "No, you need a whole new case." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So now I've ripped off the old gaffer tape, redone it with new. It's tight. I don't think it's going to break or anything else. It will work fine. But it's a shame because it's a good case, and it's
it really is.
Got the Status stencil on it. The messages have slowed down. Have you all sort of dropped off to bed? Come on. Look lively.
Come on now.
It's all dropped off, yeah.
Hey, Jamie, I didn't want you to feel alone.
Oh. There we go.
There we go.
There's a good man.
It's not date night, lads. Come on.
I didn't know we were doing bromance. Okay.
That's it, yeah.
Oh, you know what's really funny though? So Zoom, since you brought that, I've had people give them to me, and I've got one made of paracord that's about this wide.
Wow,
And
that must be strong as heck.
Oh, dude, I could hang from a tree with it. And I mean, because it's
I'll
crazy.
pay good money to see that.
Oh, well, you know what? I'll tell you. You want me to bring it along, then? Do you?
we are the Three Monkeys. If in case you haven't heard.
There's that. So but it just, I've got so many things that people have sent me in photos and whatnot that have pink all over them. You know, it's good for a chuckle. I mean, this crazy thing. I know I keep popping this up, but this thing given.
That makes the Hassan Iqbal video.
There it is, right there. Yeah, because this is the feather boa. This is the boa strap. You know,
it's like a Cheech and Chong strap.
Well, the crazy thing is it says "Made in England" on it. So you know, So I mean, you know, but it's funny is because I was doing a gig in Ireland 10 years ago, and a guy walks up to me and goes, "Like a sword," you know, and so I'm like, so I threw it on the bass. I threw it on the Jaydee
in his hands.
Well, he was a strap. It wasn't like "let's go." It wasn't that kind of thing. But but it was right. I'm thankful, very thankful. But I put it right on the bass because I had the strap buttons and strap locks with me, so I popped them on there and slapped them and played the gig with it. And the dude was he was bonkers at that point. He was excited. So it is what it is.
Beat after beat says he's still watching. Very good, sir. Keep going.
Indeed.
It's like a war of attrition. Last man standing. Okay.
I happen to know that he does a live stream of his own on his own channel, and it's going to start like in 5 minutes. He's got to get off.
We might have to go and join his channel.
That's right. We're gonna go and bog his channel, are we? Is that
That's
it?
right.
Yeah.
We'll have to find that. You'll have to send me the link for that. Come on, we'll join in your channel. What does he do on his channel?
He mostly.
In fact, I'm going to come into YouTube.
Mostly does like new music releases, I think, something like that. He just talks about what's being released.
Here we go.
But really,
he canceled it today. He says so. I would say we could pop over there and talk about curry, but he canceled it.
Okay. What? It's a big hang.
You'll have to right. We'll come and infiltrate your live chat. So.
Oh, I see a fun question coming up.
I'll get to that. Hold on. Gareth Harrison, Talking Sabbath. I was surprised when I found Geezer's EMG pickups were passive, as I always assumed EMGs were active. They don't have to be. No, they did a range of passive ones.
I like
the way those sound. If you go on EMG's site and have a look at all the different pickups they make now, and consider how many they've made over the year, there's so many different ones.
The original ones were active pickups, but they've moved on and kept up with the market and trying to keep a finger hold or a touch in all the markets.
Yeah. Stacey, beat after beat notes cancelled. Shame. Right, well, we're going to have to join in you have a ceremony this evening. Okay, I'm being knighted as a Knights of Columbus. Third-degree member. What's that?
It's a civic organization in these states.
Okay.
He can explain better. But.
Congratulations. I hope you have a great day. Let us know when your live chat is and we'll come and have a look.
You know I am Stacy.
King Charles, here we go. Are Jaydee basses overrated?
Here we go.
Especially compared to other UK luthiers like Overwater, Say, and GB. Well,
let me get the curry bowl. Wait a minute.
Friend.
Let me get the curry bowl.
You've got him warmed up. Tell you.
Oh, yes, okay.
He's going to be like the proverbial man that stubbed his toe on the bottom of the bed. Go on then.
All right. So here we go. Are they overrated?
Boys and girls.
Let me put my Jaydee hat on for a minute. Okay. So here's the easy answer. Right, incoming. Are they overrated? It depends on who you speak with and what they want to use it for. Because there's plenty of bases to pick from. Overwater, CGB, some of the old Enfields that Martin's not making anymore. How many other things are there? I mean, you can go with what? You can go with
Shuka,
ACG, right?
ACG. Wall.
So the question is, depends. Manson's. I think it depends on who is asking and what an experience level is with them. Because some people have great experiences, just like anything else, and some have not so great experiences. There are some times where the truss rods were questionable, and there was a run in 1987 that they're very upfront about that said that they had dodgy truss rods, and there was some concerns. Some of them, they move around a bunch, some they don't. So it really is all about choice and flavor. If you want that flavor, again, if you want that flavor, it's going to be there. If you want something else, go with something else. Real simple. I mean, I can get really nutty if you really want to go there, but I personally like them. And trust me, in my lifetime, I've owned, keyword is owned, not knackered with, 1,500 plus basses. So I have had a little of everything, and I make a choice to play these because I like them. I've had Fenders, I've had Warwicks, I've had Spectres, Ricks, Foderas, you name it, I've probably had it. So it's all about a choice. I've tried a few GBs because they're hard to get over here. I've had friends who've had Overwaters and such. I've had Walls myself. So really, your mileage may vary.
Condition. You can
It
get
is a medical
tablets for that.
Well, they call
Like a
well,
soothing
that's
balm.
gear acquisition syndrome. Yes.
Or gas.
So yes, gas for short, right? But really,
on a daily basis. Oh no, sorry, that's the other sort of gas. Sorry.
right? That's the way we weren't speaking about curry.
Me.
Oh well, you said your pants were on fire earlier, so I was concerned that pants and trousers were different things. So Anyway, yeah. So to answer the question completely, are they overrated? It depends on who you speak with. It depends on their experience, and it depends on what you like or don't like. About that simple.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Nick's sister has decided to sell his Rickenbacker 4003S in matte black.
Yes.
Does that interest you?
Me, no.
Okay. Just thought I'd keep you ahead of the details.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'd have to have another hour to explain the differences between the new ones and the old ones, but I'll stick with trusty blue that's coming my way.
Pray tell, because people like that information.
The Rickenbackers?
Yeah.
Okay, shall we use visuals?
Feel free. You have
Okay.
plenty of them.
Okay, so let's start with the 1968. Okay. Real simply, shape, checkers, real pearl inlays, lovely large headstock, one-piece neck. Okay, this was how they started what everybody knows as the Rick. Okay. Over the years, they transitioned them a little bit. Then they started to look like this, where this shape was different. The neck was different. It was a 2 or 3 piece, depending on what year it was. Headstocks got smaller. Okay. Now, the newer ones, starting in about 1997, they did the body wings very similar to the old ones, but they were even smaller. So they look disproportionate based on what's in the middle of it. The necks changed, the truss rods changed, the headstock size, everything changed. They are not the same instrument as the original ones. So if you have not played an old one and you want to try a new one, I can tell you as sure as I'm sitting here and this is pink, that they are 2 separate animals. So my preference, if I have one for a Rick, is give me a 4001. The early 4003s are different. They have their own quirks. The new ones, I personally don't like. Now, that's not to say you won't. It just means that after having 175 or 180 of them, I like the old ones. Sorry, Rich. It's just the truth. So the new ones, the neck doesn't suit me. And again, like I said, I'm not to beat that horse. Your mileage may vary. If you love it, by all means play it, purchase it, love it, do your thing with it. I can't. So to have it as Nick's bass would be lovely. I've got my eye on the blue one, and it's not a Rick, as you well know. So there you have it. But thanks for the info.
Mm-hmm. The blue bass.
Yes.
I know it well.
The blue bass, nay teeth. So yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, trust me that if I will be, I've been asked to get up and have a go at the event. So you obviously know what I'm going to be playing.
Yep.
point blank.
Fender Jazz.
Absolutely. with inlays, yes. So yeah.
Very good. Beat after beat, you've got to disappear. Thank you for attending. Pleasure to have you along. I'll come and
Cheers,
check out
man.
your channel very
Yes,
shortly.
indeed.
Stacey K out of Columbus does wonderful work. Congratulations. Very good. Thank you. I'll be a third degree knight. Excellent. Many blessings. Had a great afternoon. Thank you very much.
Right on.
Say bye to him. Albriano, Jamie, have you played Zon? My Sonus 519 is the bass I will never part with. I've had it for over 20 years. Nothing like it, and the neck never needs adjusting.
I think we talked about this once. The Zon is basically the American status because you're talking about a graphite neck.
Well, it is, but they didn't develop their own circuit and pickups, unlike
Oh yeah, they
Status.
use Bartolini's a lot.
The Bartolini's all over.
Yeah. As far as to answer your question, yes, I have played one. Actually, I played two. A friend of mine had them. They're all right. Again, if you like the graphite neck, you'll love it. I did play one Zon, but it was a very early one called the Scepter. And I don't know, Mike, if you're familiar with that one, or if you guys are familiar with the Zon Scepter. It was one of the earliest designs, and it looked almost Rickish in the upper crest. That one was fascinating to me. Single humbucking pickup and a Scheller roller bridge. That one was more that I would have played that one consistently if I could get one. But no, to answer your question, yes, I have played them, and I'm really glad you like it.
There we go.
Yeah.
I've loved Zons. All the ones I've played have been great. I said a couple of weeks ago, I nearly bought a blue Legacy that was at the Bass Centre in 1997. I picked it up and just thought, I've never played one of these and I want to play it, and it blew my mind. I thought, wow. Okay, this was about 3 months before I bought the Mark King Stingray. And I played it. I was like, whoa, I like this. And I knew, because I remember Dick Nolan of It Bites had exactly the same bass, and I loved his bass tone on Once Around the World. And I came back to it about 2 weeks later. It was still there. They were never flavour of the month. They were never the sort of bass that was going to fly out the door on a weekly basis. And it was still there. I played it again. I thought, no, I'm going to have to put a deposit down this. And I wasn't flush with cash at the time, 1997. And the next time I went in, I thought, I'm going to buy that today. I walked in, I said, where's the Zon gone? And they went, oh no, it's gone off to Billy Gould of Faith No More.
Faith No More.
They've got a load of TV appearances and he wanted to borrow it. Okay. And then the Mark King Stingray came up, so I ended up with that. And about 3 months after that, the Zon came back, so he'd taken it off on tour. It was battered. It was battered all over. Bits of paintwork missing and dings and bangs, and I was like, and then I remember, I think it might have been Nick Owen, and I think he rang me up. He said, "Oh, we got that Zon back. Do you?" I was like, "No, no, all right. No, I'm okay.
No,
I've got
thanks.
that Stingray now. Thanks."
Pass.
Yeah, yeah, and it was a shame. Just it was an amazing playing bass. Just played itself. Anyone that owns a Zon knows that. They kind of just, it's like Status. They're just very fast. You know, they don't hide mistakes, so you've got to make sure your fretting accuracy is good. But just great bass, great tones. That pickup and circuit is ideal for that bass. And I love the length of the neck and the way it balanced and the headstock. Everything about it was great. Nice. And then I did a couple of reviews of their cheaper end stuff, probably about 12 years ago, 2013. In fact, what was that? Let me just call up my review folder. I can tell you. That was easy to find. You just scroll down to Z, eh? Zon Mosaics. A Zon Mosaic Standard 4 and a Sonus Standard 5.
Okay.
In 2013. And they were both great, but they weren't a patch on this Legacy that I played. But there you go. But they're great basses. And long may they continue. They've never been flavour of the month, though.
Reminds me of Modulus.
Yeah, it's kind
The-
of that. Well,
the old
but
ones-
they had Flea. I bet Joseph Zon was like, if we could get Flea to play a Zon,
Ooh, that would be interesting for sure.
change his fortunes. That's for sure.
Right.
Well,
right.
well, hey, haha. Now, I put up on. It was this morning actually. The first short that went up this morning was remixed off of an old, a previous live chat. So there's a story. It was about the. We were talking about Mark King level 42 basses a couple of weeks ago, and Rob
mean
Steen
last
came
week?
on and asked me, did I know Don Ziff? So Don Ziff was a member of the level 42 digest.
Okay.
So Bernie made a ruby red Spitfire. So this has got to be 98, 99 at a push. And somehow, I can't remember if it was a Chili Peppers gig in the UK or it was something else that Flea was over here for. It might have been Frankfurt even. And Bernie got his Spitfire to Flea, this ruby red one, and Flea wanted it, but Bernie had built the bass for a friend of his, and I think the guy had already put a deposit down, so he couldn't give it to Flea. Can you imagine what? And I think this was it would have been around the time, if not before, Mark started playing them. Can you imagine if Bernie had had Mark King and Flea both using GBs?
They would have been
Made for
cracking.
life. He
Would
would
have
have
been
had
cracking.
to have outsourced production because he wouldn't have been able to keep up.
Wow.
Right. You know, you just reminded me.
Your life's fortunes can hang on that one thing. Now, personally,
Yep.
I would have said, Flea, you have that bass. You go and enjoy that. I'll build this guy another one. Bernie
Right.
doesn't think like that. And he always says to me, I'm an artist. I'm not a businessman. And there is the perfect encapsulation of that phrase. Because you'd have just gone, Flea, just have that. And anything else that you want, you just take that and use it on telly and on some gigs. And that would be great. Thank you very much. Love your
Oh,
work.
yes.
And Mark King wanted the same bass. So I'm thinking maybe this was 99. Maybe this was. I remember in the Bass Center flyers that they used to do, and I included some scanned in the Bass Center video that I did here on the channel. It says in there, as played by Flea. So he clearly got that in on the press release.
Of course he did.
That Flea had used it, but I don't know if he'd used it on a gig or it was just like a promo thing.
You just made me think of something. Did you had mentioned a blue bass to me? Do we have any other info on that blue bass? If you know what I mean, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say
there
no
was a picture
more.
posted up on that person's socials last week.
I need to go back and look because I haven't seen any. I haven't seen
I
anything.
have to say, it doesn't look blue like you remember it.
It probably is green. It probably went
It's
green at
edging
this
that
point.
way. It's like
Wow.
someone's put it in a sink full of detergent and dirty plates. And
You know what? There was one that I could have picked up along the way that
What, blue?
actually Sir Nick had it, and it
The
would
Neptune?
have. It was a Series 3, and
the Neptune one.
no, that's a whole different discussion.
Okay.
By the way, I don't see it on that bloke's page. I don't see it.
It might have been on
if you-
Facebook.
That's what I'm looking on, and I don't see it.
Facebook or Instagram. I'm not really on any others.
I'll look on IG. No worries. But there was one. There's
You may also need to check under Bass Direct.
Okay, I'll have a look. You know Scott Wheeler. Have you met Scott Wheeler?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Haven't
so
met
Scott,
him, but know of him. He's been here
Okay.
on live chats before.
he has been with us. That's why I mentioned him. He had purchased one from. It was one that Sir Nick had. And it was originally pearl blue that had gone green, and it was proven that it had gone green. So if it's that shade, I'm not surprised. Truly.
Again, it's where it's been kept. It might have been kept in the case, and the problem with keeping things in cases, as you know, how does
Yes.
that headstock go?
Wink.
The fender.
Woo.
With your
Yeah.
hands.
Yeah. It was this way. Like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Like a tomato plant in a greenhouse.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Hmm.
Mental. Not always the best policy, but you never know. You don't know.
Especially if it's a 59 precision.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
No temperature changes, no humidity changes. Open the case, crack.
And those thick, flat wound strings.
Beautiful.
Lovely. Lovely.
Beautiful. There we are. Anyone got any further questions? 11:15. We can do another 15 minutes or so. If you've got any questions about bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, bass accessories, great bass players, albums with great bass playing on, ask away.
Indeed.
My friend Paul, who I've mentioned earlier regarding Ozzy, was posted on Facebook. I'm going to read what he said.
Go ahead.
He's known as the Archdeacon of Rock.
Lovely.
My vivid memories of Ozzy are probably pretty different to most people's. We were drinking tea and eating cake. See, the best people eat cake. In his kitchen, and he was truly concerned about the welfare of the people who were needlessly praying outside the gates of his house in the pouring rain. He wanted to take them tea and umbrellas, but there were press out there too, and it would have just turned into a circus. He was a very nice, humble, intelligent man. Rest in peace.
There you go.
Well said, Archdeacon. Well done. I've known that bloke for 30 years.
How about that?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see it on Bass Direct either.
I've walked in on him in various states of undress on gigs as well, I have to say.
Speaking of lovely jubbly, yes.
A Geordie. So he has quite a turn of phrase. Yeah. Well, this is the same man who, when in Moscow, got absolutely leathered virtually every day. And we were doing a runner gig. We were doing 10 gigs at this venue. And we were all at the venue waiting for him to turn up. He'd got blitzed somewhere. And so I think the keyboard player was with him. And he basically, before we left London, he'd gone to Streatham High Street to buy some sort of Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator boots kind of thing. Heavy duty, big black sole numbers.
Yeah.
But he bought them in Streatham. So obviously they're counterfeit and fake. And he's taken them to Moscow. And at some point, something has happened and it's ripped the sole off this boot. But not just one, it did both. I don't know what he must have walked in glue and it just gone completely ripped off. He was on the tube on the underground in Moscow, which is not the friendliest place,
Right.
swearing his head off because he basically got nothing on the underside of his shoe. So he's walking along and his socks are rubbing against the floor. He eventually gets to the gig, takes a roll of gaffer tape and tries to tape the soles of these boots back onto the rest of the boot. By which time he'd finished and he's drunk, literally the whole boot is just a walking mass of gaffer tape. He gets on stage for the first number. We're already about 3 songs in. He gets on stage, stands up and literally just keeled over and did the gig laying on his back, feet in the air.
Feet in the air.
When we finished the gig, he got off the stage, stood on the floor, and the soles ripped off. Idiot. I always said to him, don't buy cheap crap in Streatham. It's going to waste of time and money. He must have used 2 rolls of gaffer tape on these boots. It was just it was like watching a tree stump, walking with tree stumps on your legs. And he just couldn't walk, and swearing like, and all these Muscovites going, the hell's he talking? Swearing profusely. Bless him.
Send me a link to that.
There.
Send me a link to that picture, by the way, because I can't find it.
I'll check it later and I'll send it.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. No worries.
King Charles didn't. Here we go. Didn't Bernie and Mark have a fallout over the Spitfire? Yes, I've explained that numerous occasions on here. Due to Bernie wanting payment, that's one line of it. There's 3 or 4 sides to this, and I've spoken to 3 or 4 people about it. So there's the fact that Bernie would like to have been paid. Mark's view was the association of Mark to Bernie's bases should have been enough of a payment. And to be fair, think how many GBs Bernie has sold because of Mark's association. That still goes on today.
Yeah.
So in Mark's eyes, Mark should have had the basses for free. But there's also the fact that Mark wanted 2 basses that sounded identical, and it didn't matter how many Spitfires Bernie produced, he couldn't get 2 that sounded alike. And there was also a contentious point, and I've heard it from several people, but I've not heard it from, I've never brought it up with Bernie, but anyway, that Mark had a problem with 1 or 2 of the frets popping out, and bearing in mind Mark doesn't compromise in his playing style, so when he's going for it, he's going for it. And I heard that 1 or 2 frets popped out, and that was kind of a bit of the last straw for him. But there are numerous other arguments, and I'm sure other people can put more colour into the picture for you. Albriano, Brooksy, is Joe Zon still involved with the company? Good question. I don't know. Can someone tell me? I've tried to reach out to them to purchase an updated case and bridge, but no response. Also, the link to their online store is broken. Did something go on with Zon in the not that distant past?
Let's have a look.
Let's have a look. It says Zon Guitars. Looks like it's there. Contact us. Emails there. Customer support. Parts list. Looks like it's all there. Maybe they've had a problem with their website.
Let me have a look.
Looks okay to me.
Okay, the store doesn't come up on this side.
I can share. Hold on. Let me share the screen. Here we go. No. 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 There we go.
All right. We're all moving around like crazy.
There we go.
How about that? We're playing chess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bishop to Fawn 5, yes.
Custom. Okay.
Musical
So
chairs.
that's, it's not going to be close up enough, but I mean, this is what I'm getting. Contact us. Customer support. Parts list. User guides. Catalog. I'm seeing it all there.
See, the store for me doesn't come up. It blanks out.
Interesting.
Don't know. Try and find him on socials. Is he on socials? I don't know.
He is, yeah. You got Facebook, and yeah, you can find him on Facebook.
Yeah.
Let's go there.
Gareth, there's a Flea bass for sale locally for 300 quid that you're tempted with. Not those cheap things that look like
don't
they're
bother
about
one
40.
of those.
No,
They're
no,
awful.
No. Don't even be tempted. That was a marketing ploy. Don't
Yeah.
do
It
that.
was.
Don't do that. Bass
They
Street
call junk
2011.
sale.
Yeah, no. You'll regret it. Don't do that. Say
Yes, you will.
get something proper. That's a toy bass. It was a marketing ploy. Don't go down that road, Gareth.
I never played one of those.
You're not missing a thing.
I did play one.
Okay, good.
An experience I can forget instantly.
I would say contact Zon through his Facebook page, because there is a contact link there, Al. Because the store doesn't come up for me on this side either, and I'm in Tennessee.
Okay.
Flea was my second, bass dude. Started with John Taylor, and 2-3 years later, I was totally fleed out for like the next 4 or 5 years in high school. Yeah, and I played a white Stingray after they stole my bass. I convinced my mom to
That's a great bass.
lend me the rest of the money for what was then the brand new 3-band, made in San Luis Obispo, white Stingray, which that was my absolute only bass for a good 6-7 years. And
I'll never forget the effect he had on basses over here from about 91.
Yeah.
It was huge. I can remember. So I used to pop into the bass centre whenever I used to come up from the south coast, and I'd come for a day of bass shopping in London.
Yeah.
And then I moved up here, back up to London to do my degree, and going to the bass centre. And Blood Sugar Sex Magic had only come out a month
Time for the
ago.
wall.
And I
Love
can
that album.
remember before that was released at the bass centre, they might have had a couple of Stingrays, but not loads.
Yeah.
And then once that album took off, and you had the whole grunge thing, and kind of Red Hot Chili Peppers were different to grunge, but the popularity of that album just put them into a different stratosphere.
Yeah.
When I went to the Bass Centre after having come back up to London, literally they had a whole side of the Bass Centre just full of Stingrays, and literally they couldn't restock them quick enough.
Yeah.
Kids were coming in, like on a Saturday, it'd be literally Red Hot Chili Peppers licks the whole day. It would have been like sitting in a typewriting pool all day. I mean, those poor guys behind. I think that's why they started stocking the earplugs. Put them in. We'll go through a couple of sets of them. And then that carried on all the way through the 90s, probably till about 99, and then sort of tastes were changing again, and but all through the Britpop thing, Stingrays never waned in popularity, because literally every dance act you'd see them on Top of the Pops had a bass player with a Stingray, and but that popularity, because there was a fair chunk of time, like 4 years between Blood Sugar Sex Magic and One Hot Minute, but that popularity, it just never waned. And during that period also you had Stuart Zender of Jamiroquai came out, so suddenly Warwick's took off. So the two big bases of the early to mid 90s were Stingrays and Warwicks, and the whole Mark King bass exotica thing just went totally out the window.
I actually remember being pissed off when I heard that Jamiroquai album and started learning about Stuart Zender, because I felt like this guy's not that much older than me, or maybe he's how old is Stuart? At that time I just thought he was maybe slightly older than me, but I kind of thought like we're kind of the same age, and he kicks so much ass. I hate him now. He kicks too much ass.
51.
This guy.
He's 51.
Cracking player, phenomenal.
I'm 51, so see, we were the same age. I was so mad. Like, gosh, it's so
He was
funky.
a monster.
Yeah.
He was a monster, but he grew up listening to the right thing. So he was a big Level 42 fan, Weather Report fan, Stevie Wonder fan.
Oh yeah, you could hear all that.
funk
Yeah, you
stuff,
could hear all that.
all the jazz fusion stuff.
Yeah.
So if your ears are tuned into that, look, what sensible parent puts their kids through listening to Weather Report at a young age? I mean, that's not really. But clearly, he latched onto it, and
his articulation,
followed all
his
that
note
stuff
choices. The guy's awesome. I never learned
I
anything
think also,
beyond
I
his
think
playing.
also the keyboard player, Toby
Matt?
Smith, and the original keyboard
the original.
player who died, Toby Smith. He was very wired into that stuff. So you've got him guiding Stuart, and then you've also got JK and his musical preferences. So you would have had all of that.
Yeah.
You know, this is the vibe we're going from. Why don't you play that note? Why don't you try that? Because that works with that chord. And you would have had, poor Rick, I tell you, we'll tuck you in, pop it.
Oh no, it's terrible, isn't it?
It is. Burning the midnight oil. It's all those duo gigs. It's taking it out of you.
Duo gigs. Other things as well, but hey.
But that was that was the transition. So sort of after Blood Sugar Sex Magic had been out for a couple of years, that Jamiroquai album came out, and then the second album was even better for bass players. That took over. So it was funny, you saw the transition from 15, 16, 17, 18 year olds, then the new brigade of 16, 17, 18 year olds a couple of years later found their bass god, and that's what you see now. You know, that's why Zender still has a huge following.
Yeah, he's pretty badass.
There we go. It is coming up 11:30. It looks like most of us need our bed, so Rich certainly does. I can feel myself fading a little. Jane's all right. She's got a pink bass strap, and Zuma just looks like the fountain of youth. So
I got the power of the pink strap, so I'm
it,
fine.
yeah.
See, it's catching.
I need
a merch store,
well, don't I?
Okay, Rich, when I come across him, I'll bring you something.
Okay, go on then.
Cheers on that. Yep.
Excellent stuff. Right, on that note, I'm going to wind this up. So, boys, thank you for a blinding night.
It's been a pleasure.
Lovely job.
Cheers, man.
If you've been here on the live chat, thank you very much. It's been an absolute blast. So, rest in peace, Ozzy. Please give the live chat a thumbs up, even at this late hour, please give the live chat a thumbs up. Please feel free to share it and leave comments. New subscribers, fabulous job. There we go. Zon set.
The scepter bass. Yep, that's it.
Thing, isn't it? Well done, sir. Hopefully some long form content up this week, but I won't promise anything because I've got a lot going on. Albriano, thank you very much. Gareth, fabulous job. Stacey, wonderful. King Charles, beat after beat. All you lovely people, thank you very much.
Oh, yes.
I will see you next Tuesday. Live chat 124. It's the anniversary live chat next Tuesday.
Cake and wine.
5th anniversary.
Cake and wine.
5 years.
Cake and wine.
Cake and
5
wine.
years
Absolutely.
at this game.
5 years.
Pie and beer.
5
Pie
years
and beer.
of my life.
Curry and tea.
770 odd videos and 5 years. But there we go. We keep plodding on. You never know. The wheel might turn at some point. But have a great week, gents. I will see you next week. Enjoy your bass playing. If you're out this weekend, be safe. Travel safely. Enjoy your gigs. See you next Tuesday. Take it easy.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.